I'm like, oh my God, I'm finally meeting Santa Claus. The magic is here.
Later, when I do this, what'd she start doing with her hand?
How did I get here? Magic.
What is that? Even when she goes clock it like that, so she's not going in frame. Did you guys see when they go in frame and out of frame? So one is validating, and the other's exiting frame. You guys see that?
Why are you doing this, love? I don't understand.
Now she got a whole new accent. This is 100 million years of evolution right here, okay? You see what's happening?
Can I trust you with your word?
Yes. Do you see her looking? Watch her look, okay? You see her, what is she doing when she looks in my eyes? What I'm doing is I'm going holding frame, and then I'm losing frame with intention. You guys see it? Do you guys see how the behavior shifts as you hold frame and lose frame? Yeah. She's a little girl, but is she harmless? No, she can mind fuck you in ways you have never been mind fucked. She can take a champion man and make him a puddle, okay? And she knows it, okay? Do you ever find it like, sometimes like you're trying to meet a guy or like meet like a really cool guy who you look up to, but it can be hard to find a guy who you respect or look up to at times, or how do you experience that?
Yeah, it can be really hard to find. I feel like they're not really elevated, you know? Like, they can be really attractive, but it's just like, where's your mind at, you know? Can you emotionally like fulfill me, you know, and protect me in that sense? Yeah. And I feel like a man really needs to understand that this is really a spiritual war. And if a woman can really lean on to you, like you're her armor, you know, she knows that you're gonna protect her. I feel like it's like she can finally like, okay, I can let loose. I'm protected, I'm fine.
So I want you to always feel super comfortable here. You bring good energy here. You got good energy, you're thinking for yourself. I see that you're strong. I see beautiful internally. I see your soul. Do you understand? I can see into your soul. You understand what I'm telling you? I really can. I see who you are. I see your frustration. I get it, okay? I'm here trying to help that situation as best I can. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my best, okay?
Yeah.
And I know that you're trying your best too, and I really love you, okay?
Yes, I love you too.
And we're gonna be friends, okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it, okay? A shit test, what women do is they withdraw approval temporarily. They talk to a guy in front of you. They say, oh, you're a jerk, you know, things like that to see how strong your mind is. Okay, this is a bit of a side quest, and we're gonna come back to like the larger societal implications. Have you guys ever seen it where, the side quest, and we're gonna come back. Have you guys ever seen it where a common theme is a guy has a girlfriend and she's in love with him and always chasing him. And he's like not willing to wife her up. And he's kind of like, I don't know. And eventually she gets sick of it, pulls the rug and says, fuck off. And then he collapses and begs her to come back. Yeah. That's a common little loop-de-loop that girls can do on guys, right? Have all you guys seen it? Yeah. You ever seen a, you know, like, have you ever had an ex that like, you like really loved him and like wanted more from him and then finally you got fed up, you left him, and no, I love you. Yeah. The reason why, okay, follow this. The reason why you can easily keep a girlfriend is because she's validating you. She's actually giving you frame, which is keeping you confident. Later, if she pulls away and you react, she can RAS flip you and leave. Yeah. You guys see how that works? Yeah. So that's why you have to have a strong frame to keep a relationship, okay? That's why you have to learn social skills to keep a relationship. Okay, so what's happening is if a girl's in your frame, she will RAS flip for the positive for you. And then if you lose frame, she RAS flips for the negative for you. And you guys ever had a girl who was like your best friend, you lost frame, and then she looked at you like a stranger? Yeah. Yeah. It's really weird, right? That if you had just been friends, that wouldn't happen. If you'd been coworkers, that probably wouldn't happen. But if you have frame and she exits frame, there's usually a backwards there's an RAS flip. Right now, as you're watching the video, that is you right now. By the time you're done watching this video, you'll be that. But if you want to be this, here's what you do. Click the link below and join up on the free event. This week, we're going to be doing one in Seattle. I'm actually out here on Cannon Beach in Oregon, heading over to Seattle. And then what's going to happen is we're going to do Salt Lake City, Denver, St. Louis, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, New York City, Austin, Texas, Houston, Dallas, Los Angeles, Vegas, Phoenix, San Diego, Boston, DC, Orlando, Miami. We're gonna be doing frickin' everywhere, okay? Your city, I promise you, if it's a major city, it's gonna be on the list. From there, if you want to join up in an overseas event, I've got my team running them overseas as well, and I'm going to be zooming in and getting to know you. And lastly, if we're not hitting a city that you're in the world, we have virtual events where I'm also going to get to know you and take you through the same curriculum. I'd recommend that you fly in. There's nothing that can beat it, but I'll tell you what, we will do the best virtual event that you could ever possibly do, get to know you in person, and build an amazing friend group. Now, like I said, that's you. This will be you by the end. This is you when you click the link. Why? Because I'm going to teach you how to get spiritually tapped in, teach you how to make cash, and teach you how to build OG social skills that will help you to build attraction, to network, to be an ambassador for your brand, get a promotion at work. You're just going to have more respect everywhere you go once you click the link. So here's what you do. Click this thing now, and I will see you in person. We will begin getting to know each other, and you will be the towering force above all the minions. Takes is for you to click this link, and I'll see you soon. Anytime you're a leader, when people leave, it's not usually just like, oh, I kind of want to do something else. It's usually an RAS flip because they were in frame, because of the hive mind effect. To be a great leader, you have to have that hive mind effect. You just have to in order to lead, okay? But here's what happens. So bring it full circle. We're done the side quest now. Refocus on the full circle. So when I walk around the room and you guys clap for me, do you guys ever wonder how I can come up here and just riff and riff? You guys know I'm not mic'd, by the way. Do you guys know that? I'm mic'd to a camera only. How loud is my voice for people at home? Does it surprise you that my voice can penetrate and saturate the whole room? Okay, so my voice is booming, but at home it just sounds like I'm kind of yelling. Voice is booming, no speakers, and I'm riffing and free associating. Jokes, stories, analogies, weaving, free associating. Do any of you guys see that and go, how the fuck? Because if you're not, I don't know why you're not. That's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, how the fuck? I used to look at comedians like Bill Burr, and I'd see him on stage crushing. I'm like, how the fuck does he do that? Any of you guys ever felt that way? Yeah. Okay. Based on what I'm telling you, is this really that I'm that skilled as a public speaker? Or is it that I came in here, you guys clapped for me, you're at my event, which activated the upper regions of my brain and allows me to do this? Yeah. Both. It's both. It's both. But the point is this, okay? There's levels to it. But I was able to do this even when I started. Even when I hadn't done 25 years of free associated public speaking. So what I'm doing is, let me show you the mechanics, please, so please pay attention, okay? When you are not feeling accepted, you will tend to, repeat this after me, get stuck in your head, and micromanage perception. This usurps bandwidth, and kills creativity. So, in other words, you ever had a dream? You ever start dreaming? Okay, so when you dream, your brain is not tied up in insecurity, being stuck in logic. So what happens, you just start free associating, right? And you make a whole dream. Do you see how creative you can be in a dream? So does this feel a bit dream-like, the speech? That's what I'm doing. I'm in a light level trance. How am I doing it? I'm getting out of my head, I'm not micromanaging, and I'm merging into the hive mind. That's really what you're seeing, by the way. You're in a hive mind right now. You guys see this? So I'm merging into a hive mind. And here's the other thing. I'm really just here to serve you. Do you guys see that? Everything I'm doing is just to help you. So why does that help with lack of insecurity if you're just there to help? If I'm here to take, what's happening in my brain? I'm micromanaging, I'm manipulating. What if I'm just here to serve you? I don't have to be insecure. Look, if you're giving somebody $1 million check, you're like, hey, who wants the check? Are you like, oh, will they like it? Or are you like, see the difference? Yeah. That, by the way, that's why, side quest here, every man and woman has to get clear in why they add value. If you can sit down for a month and just get clear in why you add value, you'll get more out of your head. You'll naturally be more out of your head if you get clear in why you're adding value. Does that make sense? Because if you don't know why you're adding value and you feel like you're taking value, your mind will shut down. It's super bad. Okay? So I'm clear in how I'm adding value. I'm adding value. By the way, what I'm actually doing here, can I tell you how I feel like I'm adding value to you? Yeah. I'm doing a free fucking event. Shut the fuck up. I mean, that's enough. But what I'm doing is I'm giving okay, this is my version of adding value, but someone newer, it would be different because I don't want to intimidate you because I've just done this a long time, right? So don't compare. Everyone has their own unique value. I had my own unique value 25 years ago. At 25 years deep, age 46 of teaching, here's how I add value. Free room, making sure that everything's quiet in the room, keeping everybody focused in the room. Then what I'm doing is I'm giving concepts that took me decades of work to understand. So what I'm putting in that work, I'm building real value. And then what I'm doing is a little bit of an Eckhart Tolle-esque energetic transmission. Do you guys feel a bit of Eckhart Tolle vibes in this? Yeah. Okay, so I'm giving a present energy transmission. I don't think you need to be wearing a fucking turban, although I do have a guru beard, I guess, now. But I don't think you need to wear a fucking turban to be a guru, okay? So I'm giving a bit of present vibes. I'm also showing you a public speaking demo. I think I may be the best free associate public speaker ever. I don't know, but a lot of the top speakers say it. I'm often your favorite guru's favorite guru and taught your favorite guru. So I'm here to also show you free associate public speaking. Now, if any of you guys see my courses, my actual course, my boot camps, my digital courses, Blueprint Decoded, if you ever saw that, those things are structured. You guys ever seen how structured Blueprint Decoded is? Yes. You ever seen how structured Hot Seat is? You ever see how structured a boot camp is? I was a college essay writer in Canada, the equivalent of Harvard would be Queens. I basically went to fucking Harvard. I know how to write an essay. I know how to lay things out. If you only know me from my free videos where I show free association, when you see me run a proper course, you're shocked. You're like, damn, this guy's organized. Like, it's all structured. Structure is a fun way to teach. The free events, I do a podcast style monologue for core fans. That's really what this is. But what I'm trying to show you is the following things. I'm trying to get everybody together in a room, shoot a badass video, give good content that took me years and years to understand, and then I'm trying to give an Eckhart Tolle type Zen transmission. But then what I'm trying to do is give you a public speaking demo, because at home what they never, okay, did you guys, who here's never been to an event live, put your hand up, I'm just curious. Okay, in LA a lot of people have been to a lot because I teach out here a lot. Some cities it's like the whole room's never been. For those of you guys who have never seen me, are you a bit shocked by how comfortable I am in front of a crowd and how long I can riff and riff and riff and the way that I can control my energy and hold attention and generate sound and saturate the room with volume? Does that surprise you? Yeah. Okay, so at home they can never hear it because at home, this is an auto adjusting mic, right? So I could just talk like that and it sounds as loud from home because the mic adjusts. In fact, if I talk like this in my videos, it'll actually sound more pleasant to the ear. Okay? Why do I do it this way? Because I could just put speakers here and talk like this. Why am I doing this? What am I showing? I'm showing you guys live what a real orator is. I'm showing you what a proper Greek style orator is. I'm a quarter Greek, by the way. You guys might not have known that, okay? We're like in the Parthenon or some shit here, okay? So I'm trying to show you OG style classical public speaking where the speaker didn't rely on electronics and could fill a room. By the way, I do have a background in dating and attraction. How important would this be to be able to use your voice and have vocal control and free association with dating and attraction in a nightclub? What do you think? So that is also why, because people who know me as a self-help coach don't know my history and they're kind of surprised that I do this. They're like, why don't you just put on speakers like everybody else? And look, someday I'll have 100,000 people and I'll happily do that. And because there is a limit, right? But I do this just to show you guys what's possible with your voice, okay? By the way, another thing I want you to notice is, am I gaining or losing energy when I do this? Gaining. But yet, energy is being burned. So why am I gaining energy from doing this? Tapped in, go to source, and remember that if you make little small wins, what happens to the base of dopamine that you're accumulating? It's building. So what I do is I say, I'm just going to start free associating. I'm just going to add value. What's happening to my dopamine base?
Increasing.
Okay, so my capacity to free associate, to project to a room, to think outside the box, to weave and thread ideas, et cetera, is enhancing as I'm up here. You guys should know that half the damn reason I do this is I'm curious what I don't know. Do you guys know that? Half the shit I'm telling you, I didn't know I knew. You guys know this? Come on, everybody's here has had that experience, right? You go teach like your nephew some shit, like, man, I didn't even know I knew that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know I knew that, right? So that's also what I'm doing is I'm showing you that. Now also, I'm showing you different intonation that works in a nightclub when music is playing, and different pitches and tones that you can use. And I'm showing you what it feels like to think very cleanly and to think in abundance, to think cleanly, to have a high signal to noise ratio, to have clarity in your thinking, creativity, and believing you can do it. So I'm in here doing a combination of those kind of things. It's like my little art form, right? Someday I'll be dead, could be any time, I'll be dead, and all that will be left is the creative work that I left behind, and people will be left to evaluate it, and they're all gonna have different opinions. Was he a narcissist? Was it a cult leader? Was pickup, was it naughty for guys to have sexy time? Did it get to his head? And all, I mean, if you guys knew me, people will sometimes say, did it get to his head? Guys, I take the biggest compliment in the world when people say, did it get to his head? It's like if you never took steroids and people accuse you of taking steroids, that's a compliment. Do you guys understand that, like, you guys in here, this little audience here, telling me that you like my stuff is really appreciated, because the damn mainstream hates me, hates my stuff. I get shit talk. 99% of all feedback I get is shit talk, and I just happen to try to focus only on you guys and serving you guys and say just forget about those guys, because they're kind of in the collective truth I talked about earlier, not individual truth. I don't know if I can say I have the perfect truth, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's, if you guys are like, yo, Owen, like, your shit's sick, like, that's really good. What if I didn't even have that and it was just 100% haterade and I'm just like screaming into the wind? You'd stop doing it. You see what I'm saying, right? At a certain point I'd be like, you know, I feel like this is true. You know what I'm saying, right? So like the fact that I have like 30K views on a 4-hour video and like a couple people that come see me at a free event and tell me it's good, that's not going to my head, guys, when I have mainstream media, Neil Strauss, major publications, other competitors, everyone's saying I suck shit. Thank you guys for at least giving me a hand and saying that you appreciate what I do. So I just want to thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. Like, okay. Running free events, there's a reason why Grant Cardone and Eckhart Tolle don't have the Eckhart Tolle free tour, the Grant Cardone free tour. If this was a good business, everyone's like, what's your business model? If this was a good business model, there'd be a Tony Robbins free tour, a Barack Obama free tour, a fucking, there'd be a fucking, I don't know, whatever free tour. They don't do free tours. It's not a great business model. I do this business model for the same reason that I go out a lot and work on social skills. I do it because when I do a paid event, it's extremely structured, and it's basically cookie cutter because it's for you. Do you guys see why I do it cookie cutter? I know that doesn't sound fun, but do you see why I do that? If you give me money, do you just want me to be like, more riffing, or do you want me to focus on you? Me. Yeah, so if I do paid events, it's the very best stuff I ever came up with at free events, in-field training, from videos, in an exercise format with nonstop personal feedback. So imagine I sat with you for like 20 hours, 30 hours, 50 hours, just giving you feedback in a preset set of things that I worked on for a quarter century. That's for you. But that's not iterating or changing that quickly, so I don't get to be that creative because I'm just taking the best stuff. But at a free event, what does that give me full carte blanche to do? Whatever you think. It lets me be creative. It lets me try new things. It lets me practice public speaking. So, believe it or not, guys, this would surprise you guys. You remember when I had like this full empire of instructors? Yeah. I never made any money off that. None. It only lost me millions to do that. I don't talk about this that much. Notice that everybody around me got famous and rich. Everybody. Why do you think that is? The leads. Because I gave them endless leads, support, infrastructure, fame, clients. Why did I do it? Is it just that I'm so magnanimous? Part of it, yes. But what did I want from it? I wanted a mastermind. I benefited from all those guys because I learned from them. We had a mastermind. That's what I got out of it. I paid money. I allowed them to get famous and provide a structure so that I could have a mastermind. In the same way, when I go do free tours, the money's not made from me doing a free tour. I'll catch a couple sales. Some of you guys might sign up for a program here. But this makes me a lot of money. I make a fuckload of money from free tours. I mean, I've done 100 million sales, but how do I make the money from a free tour? What's the way I do it? I'm the best free associate public speaker I've ever seen. You think that doesn't make you money? What am I doing here? I'm practicing. You guys, okay, let me ask a question. How come none of you guys in here, unless one of you is, knows how to drive an F1 racing car?
Never got a chance to practice.
It's a privilege. Does anyone just get given a free F1 racing car on a track?
No.
What would it be if you got a free F1 racing car on a track? A privilege. And you'd probably be one of the best in the world at it very quickly, not because you're so much better than everybody else, but because you're one of the only people that had the opportunity. Anybody here good at flying an F-18 fighter jet? How come? You don't have a chance to do it? Look, the truth is I'm one of the best public speakers ever because probably less than 2,000 people got to be public speakers. You guys see that? This was not some genetic advantage. I got to be good at public speaking because I was given the opportunity to public speak. So me doing free events, that just gets me practice. Look, one of the things I learned from learning about attraction was that the more that you go out and interact with women, the better you get at it. I watched that happen to me in real time. I'm like, wow, every time I go out and I can talk to a lot of women, I get better. What happens to somebody who lives in a podunk town and you can't go find women to talk to? What goes on? Can you get a lot of swagger when you can't go talk to girls? You know how some people complain about bars and clubs? They're like, I hate this place. I'm like, it's free leads. Like, they had to build this whole thing to get a bunch of people for you to go talk to. Shut the fuck up. Show some goddamn gratitude. Right? So my big payoff at this is the fact that I'm building my nervous system, my free associative abilities, my vocal abilities, my concepts. As I'm doing this, there's like a checklist in my head, like, oh, I like that idea. Not as much. I like this one. Not as much. And I'm learning in real time. If you go out to bars and clubs and you just go chat women, you will get better the same way you get better public speaking. Your brain will adapt to whatever you get it to do. If you play a lot of hockey, you'll get better at hockey. You play a video game, you'll get better at video games. Any of you here know how to crush with video games? You can do that public speaking. Now, if you can't public speak, you can make videos. Go make fucking videos. You see that? So I just like to practice. That's why I do this shit. Anyway, full circle. Back full circle, because that was a side quest. How am I getting my brain to project, to penetrate, to be creative, to come up with concepts, jokes, stories, analogies in free associative real time? Again, very different than a paid event where I structure it. Anyone can do a great PowerPoint event, and it's actually the most benefit to the crowd. But this is a different style of teaching here. It's powerful in a different way. What am I showing you here? How am I doing it? How am I able to trick my brain to do this? Because all of you can do it. I'm going to show you how, by the way. I'm going to show you how to do this. President's tapped in. Yes, one of it, small wins, make the base of dopamine. What else?
Emotional safety.
Emotional safety. So how do I get emotional safety?
By repetition.
Repetition.
Maybe.
And what?
Meditation afterwards.
No. It's walking the crowd. Watch. If I go, hey, buddy. Watch this. Okay, watch. Look. This is dick, but watch. Hey, you're a dick. You're a dummy. I don't know how hard to say it. Look at that little face of yours, okay? So look, if I go do that, now, if they don't react, what does that tell my unconscious brain?
You're safe.
What's to say it?
You're safe.
Safe. You see that? Do you remember I did the analogy where I had the two girls up here, yourself, and I said, we're not afraid of the two girls. Who are we afraid of? The guy. Okay, let me show you this, okay? When I was younger and I was first learning about success of women, on occasion, I'd get in state. Here's how I learned the whole thing, okay? Here's how the whole thing, well, to be fair, I had mysteries help too, but let me show you this is the gist of it, okay? I would go out on a given night, and on most nights, you think it went well or bad? How bad?
Very bad.
It was months at a time level bad. Okay? I remember one time I had like a 3-month dry spell. I couldn't open a conversation. I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? Like, this is bad. Why is that? Because the more that I got rejected, what was happening to my brain? I was getting the loser effect. My brain was shutting down. So what I was doing was I was using sheer willpower. I was like, I'm scared. I hate this. I'm a loser. I'm scared. I hate this. I'm a loser. I'm like, hey, like that. Shut down. Well, now what happens to my brain? I feel like shit. Then what happens? More shut down. You see that? What happens, though, if you go up and by fluke coincidence, the girl's nice to you, not because you're attractive, not because you're even that cool, but maybe just because she's nice. God forbid, she's just nice to you. Then what happens? Your brain says, in the same way if I go to you and I go, you're a poo-poo head and you don't do shit. If you go step to a girl and she's sweet to you, your brain says, oh, I might have value in this environment. So you have an inner radar that says I might have value in this environment. If you get a confidence boost off that, what are the odds that the next interaction will go better? Much, much, much higher. You guys catch that? Okay, so then what happens is I go in the next interaction, and on some nights, it still was bad. You ever do that when you're learning this stuff? Like you go up, first interaction good, and bad, 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 bad. You ever have that? I'd have that. I'm new. I didn't know what to think of it. Do I need a technique? Do I need to be better looking? Do I need to look smack? Do I need plastic surgery? That's what the kids these days think, right? What I need, some people just drink alcohol. I go home, I tried again, I didn't give up. I knew it was life or death for me because I was retarded. I'm still retarded, but it's like a retarded plus plus. So I go, I do it again. Now on another night, 2 in a row are nice. I feel my mind open up. Then it goes bad, I go home, I feel like shit. Then a couple months later, 3 in a row are nice. Now, maybe 3 months deep, the dopamine stabilizes in my brain and it initiates an upward spiral where I get external validation, approval, external validation. Then I have what you call a ripper of a night. Say ripper of a night.
Ripper of a night.
Ripper of a night is a high unlike anything else. You get into flow state, you're just cracking jokes, the girls are loving you. A lot of guys go and do this, they make out 20, 30 girls in a night, consensually always, okay? Girls are up on you. Then you go to a restaurant after, and you're with your boys, and you notice that your voice is projecting. See, here's the thing. Did you guys know I'm not projecting right now? This is where what your voice does when your winner effect is up. This is not me forcing my voice. This is me relaxed and feeling safe. Freely expressing to you while feeling safe. See, I'll bring you up. I'll say talk like this, yell loud, and your voice will be clammed up, and you'll push over it and fry your voice. But if you feel safe, it naturally, like, look, am I stressed? Like, if I go, am I stressed? Am I like, am I doing that? Okay, so that's a test you can do, by the way. So what's happening is I'm relaxed, so my voice projects. I'm relaxed, so I'm sharing freely. I'm relaxed, so my eye contact is naturally strong without being weird as much, right? I'm relaxed, so I crack jokes without second guessing it. You ever crack a joke? You go, hey, wiggity, wiggity. See that, right? Instead of just wiggity, wiggity, motherfucker. Yeah. You see that? It's all those little things that generate attraction. So you go out, and your dopamine goes through the fucking roof. And you know that was better than sex any day of the week. And you know, even though sex is great, and you know that you are a drug addict for life of flow states, okay? Flow, it's like being a skier. You are a drug addict of flow states till the day you die. And then you go home the next day, you walk around going, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. And like a drug addict, you go out and you try to replicate it. But here's the difference. This is very key. It takes years to figure this out. But you'll learn it right now, so pay attention. You go out, and whereas before you'd hit rock bottom, you didn't have expectation and you were authentic and just adding value, now you're taking value because you're wanting validation of the new fragile identity. Anyone here ever felt that? So for example, infield training, whenever the guy crushes it first day, I've learned to warn them. I go, they're like, today was amazing. Fucking tomorrow's gonna be more amazing. Tuesday's gonna be more. I'm like, no. You know this shit, right? You're like, no. She's infield. You know, right? No. You're gonna have a bad night tomorrow. Look, I don't want to jinx them, but I kind of warn them because I'm trying to like get ahead of it a bit. I go, usually guys that smash first night have a bad day 2, but often a great day 3. Because what happens is you go up and and there's a movement of energy. Do you guys feel how the movement of energy right now is just out? But if you have a need to validate, then it's in, and then it's this thin shellac of neediness, which is what you call a value take. If you need someone to respond a certain way to feel okay about yourself, it's a value take because it makes people feel like they have to validate you. It's kind of annoying. It's like a black hole of validation, right? So then what happens is you have a bad night. What I learned is that I could have bad night until, and this is no joke when I say this, it's kind of weird to say, until I have all out dark nights of the soul. Who here's ever just had so many bad nights in a row that you feel like you went to hell? You're like, everyone hates me. No one wants to talk to me. This is so bad. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me and how I could get this many bad reactions. It's actually energetic. You're reaching for validation and everybody's getting put off and then you just power through it, trying to make it work and it just stopped, it won't work. Do you guys know how many years I've been in this cycle? You don't even get me going, okay? So over time, you then realize, I love who I become when I feel safe. I love who I become when I have validation, but this shit ain't it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be in this loop of like going out and needing validation to like for my brain to work. Because, by the way, as a side point, I grew up very depressed, lightly autistic, ADD, and very miserable. And when I learned this, I became very happy. I got to tell you, I think with all the blowback I've had, the only reason that I kept teaching this was because I was suicidally depressed, and I'm worried that someone could kill themselves if they don't get this. I would have quit years ago, this shit. It's too much friction. Teaching this stuff is way too much friction. It's just not the right time for it, you know? Was for a while. Not anymore. But I honestly feel like people could die. That's how I honestly feel. Call that a lie, call that whatever you want. That's how I feel. Because I know I could have died. So I was very depressed growing up. So I'm finally feeling happy. But here's what you learn. So you go out, you get into flow state. The next day you feel so good, you write a sales letter. You build an invention. You work on a business. Your mind's finally working. Your mind kind of becomes what you're seeing here. Like, imagine just being in this gear all the time. How much money could you make? Unlimited. Maybe 100 million in sales. So what happens is you get in this gear, you're making money, you're feeling good, but then you lose it. And so now it's like, man, I got to keep going out and getting in a flow state to keep that state. Eventually you find repeat this after me. Meditation. Studying beliefs. Using physiology to get present. Nature. And God. And ginseng. Okay. So, okay, and caffeine, and coke, and molly, and ketamine, and shrooms, and coke, which is how people try to get it. See that? Now do you see why I don't like it? Bing, 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 bing. See that? Okay. So basically what happens is that you realize I've got to self-generate this. So you find God, you find flow state, you learn how to initiate flow state. So basically you learn how to self-initiate it. There was two things that took me a long time to do. One of them was to learn how to be 100% consistent when I go out by recognizing the patterns of how it happened. Okay, that took me a long time. And do you remember how I said things like high five, 1,000 out of 10? I learned all these different patterns to stabilize the dopamine in my brain fast, okay? Got it, guys? Okay. Now, the other one that was really tough, you might relate to this, Jake. This is a tough one. The really fucking tough one, I'm telling you, it's so tough. Okay, anyone that coaches this stuff will tell you. It's fairly straightforward to get in this like angry, logical mood and push your clients to go socialize. It's also fairly easy to go crush it and demo. The hardest thing is to give logical feedback, switch into a fun flow state, and demo. You guys follow that? Because, did you ever feel that, Jake? In your, okay, so if I just yell at you, go here, that's easy. If I'm just crushing it, making out with girls, joking around, that's easy. But it's hard to be like dancing, making out with girls, and be like, okay, so, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, and this, and then, right? Like, it's easy to jack off, and it's easy to not jack off, right? But it would be hard to whip it out, just start jacking, just start coming, right? Like, when you're in that momentum, you see that? Right? Like, it's easy to sleep when you're sleeping. It's easy to be awake when you're awake. But how hard would it be to just fall asleep? You guys see that? I'm telling you, every coach, like when I'm dead and gone, every fucking coach will find this one bit and be like, that's the most annoying part about coaching. And look, I'm not trying to make excuses, no excuses here. But a lot of students, like you're coaching them and they're like really tough cases and you've got to give a lot of energy and a lot of logic to help them. And then they always go, because they don't want to do it, they go, let me see you do it. And you're like, dude, bro, like, man, I've been yelling at you for the past half hour here. Like, you know, like, and they're like, well, I thought you said you're like the best. And I'm like, I am, if you could just give me half an hour to get in rhythm. They're like, why do you need half an hour to get in rhythm? What, you've been doing this 25 years. But you want to know something? I can totally do it now on the spot. I am the guy that can jack off on the spot and just blow up, okay? Because if you have a quarter century to figure out how to do it, You can, like, imagine that for a quarter century, you're like, I gotta learn how to jack off and come within 10 seconds. Could you do it? That is literally what I did. You feel me, bro. You feel me, okay? He's the OG. You feel me, okay? So that's what I did. So I had to teach myself to do it, right? So pretty much now I can be like, this. And you're like, you do it. I'll go, gotcha. Then I just fucking do it, okay? So, but it took me a long time, okay? When I was with Sam Hyde, I did an interview with them, and they're like, here, could you coach the guys? And they actually tried to let me off the hook. They were like, hey, you know, you could coach them from the van. I go, fuck that shit. I'm going in. And I start demoing like that, right? Even though I was in a logical state. So I taught myself how to do it. And what it really is if you want to know, it's kind of like rapidly stacking small wins. So like Sam with Sam Hyde, and I'm in a logical state, he goes, can you demo? I've got to almost be like, yeah, like, okay, I know this is dumb, but just indulge me, okay? I'm like, yeah, yes, right? You know, and then you're just like, hello, yes, okay, do you see what I'm doing here, right? Now, I don't actually do that, okay? But mentally, I'm doing it, right? You see what I'm doing? Hey!
What's up, man?
Yes. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing in my brain? I'm dripping dopamine into my brain. You guys follow that? I'm going drip, 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 like that. You guys see that? I'm dripping the dopamine in my brain. You guys see that? You remember what I said with my sons? How I kept them in a good state, and then he wrote a book at age 8? He ran a seminar at age 11. That's because I kept he believed in Santa at age 11, right? Because basically when you're on that much dopamine, you're high. So if you're like, imagine you're high and you're like, do you believe in Santa? You're like, fuck yeah, Santa, right? That's why he was like that, right? Because Dylan's just winning. He's like, fuck, my life's awesome. Like, fuck this shit, this is the fucking shit. I'm like, Dylan, Santa's bringing you unlimited presents. He's like, fuck yeah, Santa's bringing me, right? It's like you're high. He's basically high, right? He wasn't naive. I kept him high for years. I gotta tell you something. My younger one is so, and again, he's high from self-esteem, from love, and from flow state. My younger one, he's so in the zone. I've never had a logical conversation with him in his life. And literally, no sex involved, of course. He has 10 girlfriends from age 4. I can show you the videos. Literally, the videos are him at school, and he's like, this, and all the girls are fighting over him for his attention. He's not doing anything nasty or no bad stuff here, right? But just like getting attention, and he's like dancing, and he's like this, right? And then he just tries to get away from them. I've got videos of him imitating girls. He's like, the girls go, I want to marry you. And I'm like, ew. And like, he's learned this at age 7. I'll show you guys the videos of this later, okay? Like, he'll be like, the girls are like, I love this party. It's so great. And I'm like, I want to go play video games. Like, he's basically playing hard to get. And so he just like dances, and he's like dancing at school. And then he's like got sunglasses on, he's like just partying and stuff. And the girls like coming up on him. His main girlfriend, his primary, is Abigail. And Abigail is his primary because she's the physically largest. Like, she's like the tallest. So she goes to the other girls and shoves them on the ground and goes, Tristan's mine. And literally, like and you see all these videos, and Tristan's like this, right? And Abigail's like grabbing him, and all the other girls are trying to get him, and she's like shoving them away. That's what happens when you keep someone in the zone, right? As they grow up, right? And he dances all day, and he just cracks jokes, and he clowns, and if you ask him like, Tristan, how you doing? He'll be like, how you doing? Like, he'll imitate you. He'll steal your hat and go, I have your hat. I have your hat. Oh, you like it? No. And he just does this all day. What does that look like? The best way to talk to a girl. He naturally does it. All that stuff that you learn that girls like is because if you had confidence and you're the man, that's what you do. You wouldn't be this logical provider male who's not good enough. You'd be this hyper fun guy because you're highly present because you like where you are. You're not micromanaging your behavior because you feel safe. You'd be enjoying life and laughing because you're not trying to get anywhere else. You'd free associate because you have bandwidth from feeling secure. You see it? Yep. When you get in the state I'm talking about, you can do imitations, your voice opens up, you become highly creative, and this, unfortunately, is what everyone in the world wants, but society has taken away from us. They tell you, you get the Calvin Klein jeans, and you can have that back. You go get plastic surgery, and you can have that back. You look smacks, and you can have that back. You get rich, and you can have that back. When in reality, the looks max rich guy is not even 1% as good at generating attraction as an ugly troglodyte that has what we're talking about here. They're just not. But here's the thing. What I'm talking about takes 3 hours to break down. Looks maxing you can understand in 1 second. And when you're negative and you had that bad month of rejection, this looks maxing makes a lot more sense than all this dopamine, silliness, out of your head stuff, even though this is 25 years deep and I've run more infield trainings than anyone in the world. And I've proven it again and again. Look, who here's been on my infield trading and can just assure the audience that all this is totally real? Put your hands up if that's you. You guys see that? Look around. Stand up if you've seen it. Stand up if you've seen it, okay? Just to make it clear. Yell out to the group how much in the zone you can get if you do the kind of stuff we're talking about here. Just yell it out.
Just let loose. You're forced to face your fears, and you have proof that you're safe, and you won't hold back on it. You're like, do that. And it's just like a shocker. You're just a completely different person.
Is it everything I say?
It is, but it is scary at first, though.
Got it. Yeah, go ahead. And this is random questioning. I don't even know who to.
Also, your mind gets completely empty and you stop thinking. You just do.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna squeeze. I just for guys that are new to this, that are just coming to this, they're like, was this crazy? What's this guy saying? You've been on the training. What's it like?
Dude, it was like one of the best nights of socializing I've ever. I was running around and I was like, oh, I'm the greatest ever right now. Like I was running the street. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, you sure you don't just need some surgery? Is that what you need? Okay. Right? I just want to catch some other people here. Again, just asking at random. What would you say to the audience for them to understand? They've never seen it.
It was like a freaking time warp. I got in flow, I'm just bam, bam, bam. I looked down at my watch, I'm like, shit, it's almost 5 a.m. And I started at like 11. It was wild.
Yeah, it's kind of like being up on stage now for me, right? Same idea. Yeah, again, I'm just asking random people.
Actually, that thing that when you have like your state pump, and then the other night is like shit. That happened to me actually.
Yeah, but how about the good night?
The good night was awesome. I was like talking to everybody. I was like having fun. I was like, enjoying the process instead of being like in my head, and that was a change for me.
Yeah, he became so addicted that he came all the way from Argentina to see it. So, okay, just let me squeeze, guys. Let me squeeze. Just try. Because I'm saying a lot of wild stuff here, so I just want to make it like multiple experiences. Share. Look over here.
The state that you tap into, you kind of realize how asleep you are. Even at times where you think you might be aware, there's always like this next level, and you become more aware than you've ever felt like you are.
Amazing, exactly. Could you guys pop over here maybe if you want to just share, just so people can see you not in the corner. Again, unsolicited, like unprepared, asking for honest feedback. Everyone has a different experience. What would you say about it? Anyone else who wants to say about it, just come up and share. I don't know. I've done so many boot camps. I don't know who's done what.
So what I'll simply say about this, other than my voice is fucking gone right now, is that by day 2, all it was is stop getting in your fucking head. It sounds simple. You're looking at me like this. Stop getting in your fucking head so much and just talk. It's
amazing.
that simple.
Give me a hand for that. Thank you so much. So you've been on it too, by the way. Do you want to share her notes? Up to you. Sure. All right, fuck it. She's come on, woman's experience. She was socializing. You want to share? Yeah, sure. Come on up. Okay, so she had a fun experience. She had a really fun experience, by the way.
So I'm gonna share from my first boot camp.
You might not want to say quite how fun it was, because that was pretty crazy. But give them the general idea.
It was really fun. I want to share like one specific experience. I remember like my first boot camp. It was like in October. It was in New York City, so it was freezing cold. I was wearing 2 jackets, and then Owen got me to talk to everybody on one specific street, like while walking down, and I started sweating. Because I was just so getting excited about just like high-fiving people or just talking to them or just like being silly with them and just getting out of my head so much. And I was just starting sweating and I had to take one coat off because I was like, I've never experienced that before.
So her body regulated itself. And then did you feel more free and loose and creative as you did it?
Oh, 100%. That's something I carried like every single day.
Yeah, I can see it. Give her a hand for that because it was really fun. She went crazy. I gotta be honest, she went absolutely nuts. It was like, she was like, I don't know if I've ever seen a student have more fun than her. I mean, she was going nuts. Like, it was really, really funny. So, do you guys see what I'm kind of getting at here, how your mind shifts? Okay? So, here's what I'm trying to show you. Okay? Do you remember we started off the seminar where we talked about how, and I kind of like take you on a journey, harsher stuff, funner stuff, scarier stuff, uplifting stuff. It's very like all over the place, right? Like a psychedelic trip, the demon energy, the snake, heaven, all that. I want to make this a wild seminar. You guys having fun?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So look, what happens is, we talked earlier, I'm gonna tie in some threads, okay? So we talked earlier just about the fact that your capacity to tolerate ambiguity, lack of clear truth, things that scare you, et cetera, and stay present to it allows you to advance, right? If you just go authenticity, love, marriage, COVID, authenticity, NBC, right? If that's all that you can take, then it's harder to advance to an elite level. But that person who has such stable sense of self and inner strength and creativity and mind is sharp and your inner cheerleaders are on your team and flowing and energy moving out, you can look at those harsher truths and you can accept those harsher truths. And so as you get in that position, you can learn more about who you are. Because look, let's be honest, right? Do any of you here have this feeling like, who the fuck am I? Where the fuck is this? Who am I? Where am I? Where's the aliens? What happens after you die, right? These are a lot of more profound questions. A lot of the answers to these questions can be had at the most nuanced, subtle understandings, right? And certain mystics have an intuitive sense of this stuff. As you raise in your stability of your emotional state, and you can self-generate it, and you can hold presence, and you can stay present with ambiguity and with harder things, then what happens is you can be exposed to more challenging ideas. And by the way, just because an idea is harsh doesn't mean it's true, right? Not every truth is harsh. Some truths are actually very beautiful. And things that initially feel scary or that initially feel hard later, from a more stable internal state, are very beautiful, okay? Like the capacity to hold your state strong and see things that are very challenging is actually incredibly beautiful and very incredibly rewarding. I think it's a lot more rewarding than being a fucking NPC, right? But what I'd say to you is your entire life, to some extent, and this doesn't mean every second, look, sometimes you should just eat a goddamn apple, okay? Or that's weird to bring in Adam and Eve in this. But anyway, the point is, sometimes you should, that's weird. But anyway, sometimes, right, apple, right, eating the apple to leave a Garden of Eden. But sometimes, you should walk down the park. Sometimes the most enlightened move is ride your bike. Sometimes the most enlightened move is, play catch with your kids, right? Not every minute has to be like an Ayn Rand book of like deep philosophy, like deep, heavy conversations. But in the same way that sometimes you take a shit and it's like, right? Sometimes you're having sex, sometimes you're building something. There's seasons of life and there's moments of life. So at an awareness training like this, that doesn't mean that you live your life in perpetuity like this, right? My life, if you actually hang out with me, is me just blowing millions of dollars, traveling and having sex. Right? Running around with $1 million in jewelry and having sex and spending money and playing catch with my kids and my crazy son Tristan and my other kids, right? So life is not always this hard thing. But let me ask you a question. You can just be having sex, spending money asleep, or you can be having sex, spending money awake. They say in enlightenment, after enlightenment, or before enlightenment, what is it, like chop wood and do the laundry or whatever it was? What is it?
Chop wood, carry water.
Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water, right? So your life will still be the same. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna ball out. You're gonna be the man or the woman. You're gonna have it all. Life's gonna be charmed. Life's gonna be fun. You're gonna choose challenges that challenge you and love them and fight harder and deeper into them. That'll all happen when you take this path. You'll have the mental stamina to do whatever you put your mind to. So that'll just be living life. That'll be having fun. But you'll be chilling. You'll be having fun, right? But in periods, you have to stop, and then say, well, wait a minute, what am I not seeing? And life will have ongoing periods of that, right? It's here's the best way I put it. Like the NBA finals, right? Like right now the NBA finals are going, right? NBA finals, you ever heard of that? NHL finals, Super Bowl. What is the NBA finals? What is the Super Bowl? Basically, what the NBA Finals is you have a team, win some games, lose some games, and then that team is put under a pressure cooker, and pressure can bust a pipe, or pressure can create diamonds. You see that? Pressure can bust a pipe, or pressure can create diamonds. And so the team that in the regular season became the most prepared is put under brighter and brighter lights. The team that is the most prepared is put under more pressure, right? And so you'll watch as teams lose. Oh, the pressure was too much. The other team had better ball movement. The better team had better inner game, better inner confidence. The better team had more cohesion. The better team had done better drills. And eventually, over the course of the tournament, barring injuries or flukes, which can happen as well, that's why everyone has a chance. They call it a puncher's chance. But in general, especially in the NBA, the best team is going to win. Tom Brady was not the most skilled quarterback. I don't know if you guys know that. Do you guys know there's better quarterbacks than Brady by a long shot? I don't know if you knew that. Brady's not the best quarterback. He's not the most athletic. He's not the most skilled. He's not the best. But he's the greatest. He's not the best of all time. Best of all time might be Aaron Rodgers. Probably Patrick Mahomes would be the best of all time. Probably. Why is Brady the greatest of all time? Because under pressure, he's calm and elevates. Right? So life is about going. That's why, if LeBron can just get to the finals, he's actually at an advantage. Why is, LeBron in a regular season, as he ages, is at a disadvantage being 41. But you put him in the NBA finals, he's actually at an advantage over younger players. Why is that? Because he's okay. He's just like, finals. You know what I mean, right? He's chilling. That's why Brady beat Mahomes. Look, it's also his team, right? It's not a single player sport, it's team sport. But by a way of looking at it, he's just more experienced with it. He's just chilling. Just having fun, right? He's been there a lot. Can you guys tell I've been in front of crowds a lot? Yeah. Do you think that I just came out the womb in front of crowds like, hey, I'm Owen. RC Tyler, yo. Blah. No, right? I had my first seminar, 6 people. I was nervous. Did it. I did at Starbucks. People looked at me like I'm weird. Took the pressure. Then I had a seminar in a hotel lobby. Took the pressure. Then I had my first small room. Took the pressure. And then over time, I got to big 1,000-person crowds. Sometimes with celebrity in the audiences. Took the pressure. Sometimes I'd have seminars that I'd spent upwards of 6 figures to put together. And if I didn't generate some interest in my movement, I'd go broke. And I took the pressure. I had Neil Strauss write the book, The Game, that made me look like an asshole. And I'd go in front of a big group of people that think I'm a dickhead. And I didn't self-qualify and just stayed natural and authentic. And I took the pressure. I had recession, took the pressure. I had Julian Gate, took the pressure. I had times where I had chaos going on, took the pressure. Do you guys see that? So what am I doing in that period in my career? What's the fun of it? What's the fun?
Getting experience.
Experience under pressure, right? Getting experience, staying loose. I could have had, by the way, who here ever took training with me or a free event when I broke my leg and I wheeled in a wheelchair? Was anyone here for that at all? Anyone see that? There's videos of it online. I did my first boot camp in a wheelchair, never knowing if I'd walk again. I did my first seminar in a wheelchair. I did my first seminar after having kids while broke. So what happens is that under all of these different situations, you're under pressure and, you're just seeing if you can stay calm and seeing if you can stay resourceful. You want to know what is one of the best times ever, and I mean ever, that you could go out and work on social skills? After a breakup when you're needy. You ever have it after a breakup when you're needy and you're so under fucking stress that you just your skill sucks so bad because you're so raw, it's like driving without rubber on the tires. You ever have that feeling? And you're needy as hell and you're a black hole. Go out under that and take the pressure, right? The joy comes from capacity of the following. Here's the real joy, okay? All right, so I'm going to try to show you what you think is joy. I'm going to show you what's real joy. What you guys think is joy is like pumping your dick in a wet hole. Now, I appreciate sex a lot. Man, I fucked a girl the other day, if I'm being honest with you. Goddamn, it was incredible. I was like, this is just amazing. I think at age 46, you kind of enjoy sex even in a different way because your dick ain't going to be hard that much longer. And you're like, this is badass. You know what I'm saying, right? I told her that. I was like, I'm just like, thank you. You know, like, thank you. You know, right? So, you know, so that was really cool. But, you know, so I enjoy sex. But you think about joy as sex. You think about joy as you got a bunch of money, you see a bunch of diamond chains, you walk in, you buy them. You see a Patek watch, you go and you buy it. You see a big mansion, you go and you live in it. You see a nice new car, you go and you drive it, right? People look at you and say, nice car, nice watch. Oh, you have sex, you bust a load. Okay, I went shopping, I bought clothes. Okay, I don't have to stress anymore. All those things, first of all, to be clear, are very, very easy when you're spiritually elevated. So you notice how they tell you that you should disattach from these things and not make them your God, not make them a golden calf, not have idolatry? Wouldn't you think that when you're absolutely calm, focused, and present, that you could very easily, from a very creative and alive in space, go build an internet funnel? Or cold approach somebody? Or get a nice house? And what, I mean, how unresourceful and suppressed of a state would you have to be in to not be able to get those things? That doesn't even make any sense. So from a spiritually grounded place, like, take myself as a simple example. I have a mansion. How many of you guys in this room have been over to my mansion? Just come over for an event. Put your hands up. Couple of you guys. I do events at the mansion all the time. Free events. Was the event that you came to for free? Yeah. Were you surprised I just brought you up to my crib? Nice view. Well, guess what? When you got a sick crib, you can invite friends over. You can have a big dinner. You can give dinner to everybody. You can bring a homeless person off the street and give them dinner. When you have money, you can take your kids to every national park. Is bringing your kids to every national park and learning about nature demonic? Like, is this just a death cult, being spiritual? Like, what? Like, is living in an alley in downtown LA and dying while rats come and eat you, is that spiritual? That's weird to me, okay? So, from my point of view, once you're in a highly present, highly grounded, highly focused, highly empowered, highly creative state, making money is an afterthought. It's not this hard thing, guys. It's very easy. And people will say, oh, like the guru's giving the false hope that making money is easy. Look, I'm not saying that for the average chump that their brain's going to turn on overnight and they're going to start banking. But I'm saying that if you make an effort to get your mind creative and calm and resourceful, that yes, it becomes very easy, okay? I haven't been sick in 15 years. I don't know why for a fact, but it is interesting I haven't been sick in 15 years, no? You know they've studied with baboons? The baboons that are higher status feel more safe, their cortisol is lower, and they don't really get sick. You know what else they study in baboons? Robert Sapolsky. This is all Robert Sapolsky. The higher regions of the brain turn on. You guys see that? So here's what I'm trying to show you. Learn how to get yourself to that state, and over time, you will reclaim consciousness, and you will reclaim will. So say, reclaim consciousness.
Reclaim consciousness.
Reclaim your will.
Reclaim your will.
Now, do you remember I said that there's a couple areas that are like a little bit scary to dive into? And if you, these are harder things to get to. What I'm trying to do here is build the base of dopamine that I can throw some things at you that are a bit harder and have you be okay with it. You guys okay with that? Yes. Okay, so what if I told you you don't even exist in the way you think you do? Here's the way I put it to you, okay? You are so utterly manipulated, unconscious, and NPC-like that you have very, very little control over your brain, okay? That's why you're like, how come I can't come up with a business? Why do I have approach anxiety? How come I can't focus? Why do I do all this dumb shit? Why am I so self-destructive? Why am I so distracted? Why am I so in a derp state? Why am I stuck in this job? No will or focus to break yourself out of it. We can tell how manipulated you are by what you consume, what you put in your body, your brain. We can look at your internet feed. You are a puppet. And anyone here who's like, I'm not a puppet. I'm a motherfucking puppet. So I'm a puppet. You're a fucking puppet. But here's the difference. On your journey to being less of a puppet, what you'll realize is you get these little windows of conscious will. You're actually completely out of control. But in that little moment, you might become conscious. You kind of go, whoop. It's like a submarine coming above the ocean. You're like, whoop, you're up here. While you're up here, you get this tiny little window. Pay attention. You get this tiny little window to make a conscious decision. And that conscious decision is going to generate momentum into more unconsciousness or into awakening. Okay? Got it? Got it? Yes. Okay. So for example, say that you became conscious and then you're like, I want a Big Mac, y'all, and a beer. Now you just made a choice that made you a little more unconscious. Look, you want to have a Big Mac and a beer sometime. It's not going to kill you. I'm just making the point that in general, okay? Then I'm not all like hoity-toity on this shit. You want a beer, drink a fucking beer. I'm just saying, you're not gonna like I'm dying, okay? You can have a beer. I'm just saying that in general, you should admit what it's doing. So then what happens is you become a little less conscious. What if you go above water and then you do something that generates more consciousness? For example, you say, I don't want to give away $100 to this retard. And you walk up and you hand it to them against your will. What you'll feel, or against what your body wants. You will feel, wait a minute, holy shit. So do you remember how Jesus says, when you do charity, don't tell anybody? Watch this, okay? If you do charity and then you post it, look, there's nothing wrong with posting a charity. And that can encourage other people to do charity. It can raise awareness of your charity. But what Jesus is referring to is you do the charity and he says, don't tell anyone or that's all you're gonna get. If you do the charity and you get validation and dopamine, are you more conscious or less conscious? You're less conscious because all you're doing is getting, look, it's like eating Doritos. It's just another way to have a dopamine spike. It's like whacking off. Now, what happens is you give the money and you tell nobody. Jesus says that's between you and God. You say to yourself, I, by my will, wanted to give. And I believe in abundance. I believe it will come back to me. I'm not afraid. I trust myself. I trust God. I'll be fine. I'm not going to die. Now, if you go tell everybody and everyone goes, yay, good for you, you lost the validation. Or sorry, you got validated, so you lost the purpose because you did it with an outcome. But if you just do it, now what happens is you get a little bit more awareness, conscious will access, and you get a little bit more awake. So this is spiritual training, okay? Now, maybe you become conscious and you say, instead of looking at my phone, I'm gonna go hiking in nature. Got it, guys? I do a lot of time in nature. Okay, instead of looking at my phone, I'm gonna go hike the Highline Trail in Glacier National Park. We're going there this summer. Okay, so as an example, okay, something hard. Got it, guys? So you do something that's either hard, goes against your autopilot, and so every single time that you go against your autopilot, you're bringing back more consciousness. You're getting more of a base, okay? Now, what happens is, it's a little bit like scampering up a mountain where all these little decisions are allowing you to get more conscious over time, okay? And this is actually like life. Life does this for you, okay? So, by the way, cold approach can be viewed in two ways, right? What is the stereotype of having a lot of sex, dating a lot of women, spiritually? What's the stereotype of that? How's that generally thought? Degenerate, sleazy. Here's the thing. Try to follow this, okay? The way that people who say that and look at my work will frame it, try to follow this. They act as if there's this, I jokingly call it a pit of promiscuity. Like, there's just this satanic pit of an orgy, okay? And all these like perfect tens with like satanic horns are like, come in here, baby, come and fuck us, right? Like they're like, come and fuck us, right? And then what you're doing is by the power of your will, you go, no, demon, no. I'm not gonna jump in the satanic orgy and just start fucking, okay? Shooting cum everywhere. I'm gonna resist, right? The average chump that's too afraid to talk to a girl thinks he's doing that. That's who he thinks he is. He's like, all these Victoria's Secret models snorting coke off each other's tits, begging me to come fuck them. But I said, no, devil, no! I'm gonna be celibate tonight because I have willpower and self-control. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know how to open. You couldn't hold a conversation. You're a scared bitch. You are a coward. You could never free associate. You have no control over your mind at all. And you're an incel. You're not this high willpower person at all. Look, how about this then? If you're this satanic orgy resistor, then go do one approach and get one phone number tonight. You have an hour, go. You can't. Because you're too afraid to approach and you're scared, and so you're giving into the temptation, not of the satanic orgy, but of delusion. You have no control over yourself. So what I always say is this: if you're somebody that does not want to have a lot of casual sex, don't. You do not have to have a lot of casual sex. If you want to have casual sex, have casual sex. You don't have casual sex, don't have casual sex. Let me ask you guys a question. Do any of you guys here, as fun as it is to think about banging a lot of girls, when it realistically would rather have a healthy relationship than bang a bunch of girls? Put your hands up if that's you, just out of curiosity. Now, the way that they frame it when people follow my stuff is that everybody's just trying to get some pussy. That's how everybody denies the value of the content that I teach. They go, he's just teaching guys to engage in degeneracy. That's what they always say. They have the demonic orgy pit of promiscuity frame. Like, unlike those guys at the seminar trying to be degenerates, I just say no. And I stay at home on a Friday night, staying locked in my entrepreneur's journey. You guys see how they say that? I'm not going clubbing. I'm staying home because I'm responsible. Meanwhile, this guy's a complete bitch, is a total coward, could never go say hi to a girl, doesn't even know where a club is, couldn't get in. You know Chris Brown? They can't even get in. That guy can't even get it. That guy's not getting in a club. If there was a demonic pit of promiscuity, he's not getting there. He's not invited. He's not. First of all, there is no demon promiscuity. I mean, maybe it's some swinger club. I don't know. But you know, to my knowledge, there's none. Maybe there is. Like, I think there's one called Sanctum. Maybe there is one. Anyway, maybe it's true. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so anyone here ever been to a swinger club? Anyone? Is it like a demonic pit of? I don't know. Anyway, okay, maybe I'm wrong. You know, you can always be wrong. Anyway, so, right? That's what they think. They think they're the swingers club. Look, if you went to the swinger club and you said no, then fine, fair enough. You know, if you were being beckoned, fine. You know who told the truth? Jay Bieber. I hang out with Jay Bieber sometimes at Voda Spa. Not homies with him. I know him because I coach MySpace Tom. You know MySpace Tom? And so MySpace Tom, the guy who ran MySpace for older people, he knows Bieber because Bieber came up on MySpace. So I'll go to Voda with Tom and we'll see Bieber. Bieber told me and Tom back in the day, he goes, my pastor told me I shouldn't have casual sex, I should get married. And he did. He went and got married to Hailey Bieber. Good on him, right? That was sacrifice. Okay? Okay, I've been to Coachella, y'all. They call that Biebercella. Biebercella. That guy could have had sex with 100,000 women right then and there. For real. Did you guys see the video of Billie Eilish shaking, and then he gave her the hypergamy healing at the front? You guys see the hypergamy healing? Billie Eilish, correct me if I'm wrong, but has she not sung on the same stage? That's not some nobody. I think she's sung on the same stage. She's there with his wife, and she's like, it's Bieber. And then Hailey's like, just go, girl, go. And she's like, and then she goes up, and then he hugs her, and she's like, and then millions of women are like, she's so lucky. He did a hypergamy healing. It was like a faith healing with hypergamy. It was awesome. The craziest shit I've ever seen. How do you just watch that and ignore it? I think I watched it 100 times. That's crazy. Okay? So, that's like a woman's version of healing. Bieber hugs you and you're like, demon be gone, hypergamy. So, right? That's like crazy. If Bieber could literally, if he could just get like a main line of testosterone or some shit, right? Just a permanent testosterone just producing cum, he could literally just work his way through Coachella for 5 days, just lighting up, impregnating 100,000 women. That's the pit of promiscuity. That's what the average incel thinks he's resisting. Now here's the best part. You guys know who told Bieber to resist? Carl Lentz. Okay? Carl Lentz, his pastor. What did it turn out that Carl Lentz was doing as he shamed everybody else for having sex? What was Carl doing?
Cheating on his wife.
Banging every bitch in LA. The fuckboy pastor. Okay? He brought the devil out of him. Okay? He gave the real faith healing with his dick. So, Satan be gone. Satan be gone. Justin, get married. Satan be gone. I'll help you with Selena. Don't worry, Justin. So, I like how people, the funny thing is because this is educational, people will see comedy bits and they'll put it like it's real. Like, this is what he's teaching to these guys. Oh my God. It's a joke, dude. It's half joke, half education, right? Some people can't handle it. Like, either all joke, all education. I do half joke, half education. That part was education, however. Now, joke! Okay, so anyway, so look. So basically, that's what they think. Okay, so in other words, they think, like, if Justin resists impregnating 100,000 women, is that spiritual or non-spiritual? That's spiritual. If an incel who jacks off to anime tentacle porn, makes a crusty keyboard, and plays Morrowind, stays at home on a Friday, is that spiritual? Yes! Maximum spiritual. Okay? Connected to God himself. Okay? Anime tentacle porn, Vaseline, fucking crusty keyboard, and vaping. Okay? And his mom's meatloaf. That man's connected to God. Okay? So, okay, but basically, when that guy says, I ain't going out Friday night, I'm locked down, I'm not paying attention, that's not spiritual. Now take that same guy, to get serious here, and he grabs his nuts up, and he says, you know what? I'm a straight bitch, and so I'm gonna leave my house on a Friday night, and I'm actually gonna go talk to people. And that guy is shit scared, and that guy has social programming, chemical imbalances because he's so suppressed, can't get out of his head, hyper-logical because he's not in the moment at all, can't be playful, no control over his voice, brain compulsively holding him back, tries to go say hi, can't do it. Finally, goes in, got a stick so far up his ass, he gets rejected. Gets rejected. And he finds the power to keep going. And he does it. And he keeps going. Okay? He fucking does it, man. And he gets rejected again and again and again and again and again and again. And he finds it in himself to try. And then he goes home and he says, what was weird about me today? And he doesn't go, those girls are bitches. I need a Looksmax and I need a Bugatti. No, shut the fuck up, you bitch. And actually puts the mirror back on himself. Okay? And looks in the mirror and it hurts. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to face it. And he wants every cope and every excuse. But he doesn't take it. And he looks at himself. Maybe watches a weird-ass video by good old Tyler. And he says, I'm going to believe. And so what happens, he does that. And he learns something. And then he goes out the next night and gets the same brutal rejection, but 1% less. And the next night, the same amount of brutal rejection, but 1% less than that. But you know the hard part? Then goes out a third night and it's worse than the first night. But then goes out another night and it's 5% less. Then goes out another night and it's 300% worse. But then goes out another night and 10% less. And he doesn't give up. And he learns about social skills. He learns how to find his way out of his head, learns how to take control of his mind, take control of his humor, how to free associate, how to get out of this web of fear that we're all in, of feeling like shit. And he finds a way. That's unspiritual. That's degenerate. That's what's going to let him find a partner. That's what's going to let him find his girl, his right girl to have children with. That's what's going to build a family. Our family's bad. That guy's going to get a family being an incel. Really? No, that guy's a danger to society and a leech. And he's choosing to step up. Now, I try to teach this shit, and what do they say it's doing? Degeneracy. And they tell me to tell that little guy, just be a nice guy and have respect and be yourself, and he'd be fine. So then a guy like him goes, I think I'm nice. I'm being myself. How come no one likes me? It's like when you tell a fat chick to do manifestation. That's funnier than you guys are giving me credit for. Okay? You know when the fat chick doesn't matter, like, right? Like some baddie is like, watches like The Secret, right? Like some dime watch The Secret. She's like, I went out to a party and I manifested a private jet to Dubai. I manifested a trip to Miami Swim Week. I manifested a sugar daddy, right? Like, and then they're manifesting. No, that's called you're exploiting men who think they're gonna date you, right? And then the fat girl tries it. She's like, the manifesting just isn't working. Why am I not on a private jet? Well, you just need to raise your vibe, right? So manifestation for women with fat chicks is the same. And I like be a good fat chick, but I like all girls. But the point I'm getting is this, okay? I like all girls. But what I'm getting at is this. In the same way, guys are told be yourself. They try it. It doesn't work. You see what I'm saying? It's always some 6'4" Giga Chad who's like, why can't you just be cool? Right? And the girls are like, yeah, be like him. Be like that guy. And he's like, be yourself. And the girls are like, yeah, be like Chad. Just Chad is being himself, right? This little goblin in his parents' basement. It's like, I tried that shit, didn't work. Okay? So God forbid the guy's gonna have to learn some swagger, charisma, how to talk to people, how to get control over his brain, okay? And in the process of doing this, what's gonna happen is, this, and it's crazy to say this, is the greatest spiritual growth path I've ever seen. I've done the meditation, y'all. I've done meditation. I've read the books. I've been to the retreats. I've been in nature. All of them helped. The right foods help. All of it helps. It all helped. All of it helped. All of it. But I can see the quality of consciousness in the people that I meet because I've done this a long time. Typically, here's what I see. Not always, but typically. The guy from the ashram, not always, but often, is very bright in the eyes and very present. They have developed a state of consciousness that is very good at being present while bored. Guys, catch that? Say present while bored.
Present while bored.
Yeah, so in other words, in a non-stimulating environment, they can say tapped in and present. It's very peaceful. They learn to find stimulation in the breath. They learn to find stimulation in the tingle of life in their body, which is a very centering, grounding practice. It's amazing, by the way. It's absolutely incredible. Not shutting it down. Absolutely incredible. People who go in nature are often very present amidst God's creation. Incredible, right? Isn't that amazing? You're in Maui, maybe driving the road to Hana. You pull over, there's a waterfall, a rainbow, a dolphin winks at you, a cute little leprechaun Hawaiian spiritual character goes by and says aloha, and surprise, surprise, you feel good. Pretty cool, right? Isn't it amazing that you can go into a beautiful mountain and a ravine and do some fly fishing and feel good? Isn't that a surprise? Isn't that a surprise? Pretty surprising, huh? Isn't it interesting that you could sit there away from the traffic, away from the chaos of clubs and big city at an ashram, and focus on the parasympathetic nervous system for 15 hours a day and elicit a relaxation response and focus on that 15 hours a day? Isn't it surprising that you'd feel peaceful? Right? You know, when you read a spiritual text filled with inspiration and beauty and high vibe and a transmission and ancient wisdom, isn't it surprising you feel great? Pretty cool, huh? What a shock. What a shock that if you went to Hawaii, focused on a relaxation response for 12 hours a day for a month, read the Tao Te Ching and felt inspired, and then watched a couple Hawaiian leprechauns fuck, that you'd feel present. Isn't that surprising? Wow, just spiritual. That's fucking spiritual, bro. Very spiritual. It's incredibly spiritual. Absolutely spiritual. Surprise, surprise, these people come on my trainings and cry like a bitch. Surprise, surprise, these people come on my trainings like, I'm here because I love your spiritual principles. I go, cool, let's go talk to a girl. And they go, I don't know if I can talk to a girl. And I go, shut the fuck up, you bitch. And they go, and then I go, here, come in. And then the girl rejects them. They go, she was mean, and that's just degenerate, I don't care. And I'm going back to Hawaii. Surprise, surprise that some of my best spiritual mentors stole from me. Robbed me blind. Why? I don't mean to scare you guys. Don't feel bad. I don't care. I'm rich. The point I'm getting at is this, okay? Why do they do it? Because the good vibes become a parasite in their brain. They just want to keep the good vibes going. They rationalize they're manifesting the theft. Like, I'm manifesting it. You guys see what I'm saying? So look, a lot of manifestation teachers are the biggest scammers you've ever fucking seen. Because they're not connected to reality. What is real spiritual work? Can you go to a shithole and be present? Can you go into a very stimulating environment and be present? Can you work your ass off for 12 hours straight and gain energy from it? Can you go into a chaotic nightclub pit and keep in a good mood and chat? You want to go in nature? Go in nature and do a very hard hike. Try being brutally exhausted, knees hurting, ankles hurting, cardio's hurting you, sweating your balls off, blisters, and stay present. Maybe you get an injury and you stay present. Do you guys see how presence work and spirituality can be taught in many ways? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So the guys that I see that study this stuff, you want to know why it's so good? Because they have to get at least a bit of a result. And we tend to think of results in spirituality as the antithesis of each other. But in reality, when energy is moving right, something positive should come of that in many ways, even though it's done for the sake itself. Yes, the reward is the energy itself. But what's also happening is energy is moving. So here's what's kind of funny, right? I will be around different like entrepreneurs and all shit, right? And then they'll see the vibe that I have. And they'll say, some people are just born with that, you know, like you're just an extrovert, Owen, and you're born with that. And not everybody can be like you. Shut the fuck up, you fucking dickweed, okay? Like, while you sat there in your little basement doing your MBA, I was building flow states. And by the way, I did the other things too. I was in nature. I was in the retreat. I was reading the books. I was in the flow state. I was challenging myself. I was doing public speaking. I was challenging myself to free associate. I put up free events so I could practice being improvisational. I practiced building up my energy. It's not you have it or you don't. One of my favorite dating teachers recently said, he made a video, I love this guy, but fuck, he's weird sometimes. I love him to death. And he was like, you know, sometimes I just feel like some guys are alpha and some guys are beta, and that's just how it is. No, bitch, I was the maximum beta, maximum my head, maximum autistic, maximum retarded. I kind of still am, but you can power through it. All of this can be taught. Just shut the fuck up, dude. And that's a guy who has incredible content, but he doesn't teach in field. And that's the problem with when you don't teach in field. All these guys who don't teach in field are always telling you whether it's to get a Bugatti, and I like some of these guys, but they tell you to get a, you know, his homeboy was here earlier, but you know, they tell you to get a, I'm not fucking around here, but like, you know, they tell you need a Bugatti. Bro, teach an infield training for 10 minutes and see if you need a Bugatti, okay? Like, you've been on training. Did you have a Bugatti?
Nope.
You do okay?
Yes.
Wait, but what about the Bugatti? How about he doesn't have plastic surgery? It's all over.
Yeah,
okay?
I'd love to hear about the Bugatti.
You guys see what I'm saying here? Teachers that don't train in field are often very unrealistic, very disconnected. I'm out there. People always are so surprised when they see me. I'm like, I can't believe I'm seeing you. I'm like, how would you not see me? Do you know I'm the most likely, somewhat famous guy to see out of any human? How many of you just seen me out? Put your hands up, just randomly. Look at that. Look. Put your hands way up. You know 50 Cent, he goes, you can find me in the club. Like, if it's Wednesday, there's like 2 good clubs, Warwick and whatever other club. Warwick and Barney's. Guess where I am? Warwick or Barney's, right? Or I'm hiking Runyon, or I'm at the Grove. I'm easy to find. And then I go to every major city and I go out in those places. I'm easy to find. I'm out there doing this. Can you guys imagine how much infield training I've taught? What do you think? Can you guys imagine how much infield training I've taught? No. This is not my real training. My real training is in field. This is me. This is like a warm-up before the train. This is me stretching my legs. If you've never been in field with me, you've never even seen me coach. You watch 1,000 hours of my videos, you've never seen me coach. For those of you guys that have been in field with me, how much more developed and refined is my infield training than my riffs and free tour?
It's more personal.
What's that?
It's more personal according to yourself.
Yeah? How much harder do you think training infield is than this?
Well, a lot harder and a lot more challenging.
100x more challenging, guys. Training infield. Because by the way, this is just me talking a bunch of shit, right? But while this is me talking shit, what about if I'm talking to you and you go into a negative spiral? How fast can a negative spiral infect me if I'm not careful?
Very fast.
So I go in the club. What if I have a bunch of rejections? How might that infect me?
Make it harder.
Yes. What if the student's negative? How might that infect me? What if the student says, I want to see you demo? Put me under pressure. You guys see that? So how about if I teach controversial subject matter and get shit on all day long from everywhere except my core fans? How's that affect me?
Pressure.
What if I get shat on by Neil Strauss in 2005 in the most popular book of all 2005, saying I'm a prick? How's that affect me when I go out? How about Julian Gate? The point is, we go under pressure. How about when I do a boot camp in a wheelchair? Do you guys see that? Do you guys see how life provides you the opportunity to be more aware? Do you guys see that? Life gives you the opportunity to wake up. Repeat this after me. You get bitter, or better. Every single thing that you do is an opportunity to wake up. That is where AI is going to fuck us up so bad, guys. Because what is AI going to do? All resistance will be gone. And literally everyone's just going to be asleep in the fucking AI. And there'll be like this weird little cult of people like, I'm not going to do AI. I'm going to boil the water. I'm going to build the fire. I'm going to hunt. It'll be like the Amish. Regular life will be looked at like an Amish person. Now, that is where it will get crazy. Here's what I'm trying to show you, okay? As you are building in consciousness, you'll recognize how unconscious you are. Now, when you think about yourself, do you root for yourself as the main character of the movie? You want to think you're a good person. What if you're not even a person? What if you're not even what you think you are? You think you're a person. What if you're an automaton? Why do you eat a cow? How do you justify murdering a cute little cow? They're very cute. You like steak?
Yeah.
How do you rationalize killing the cow?
It's unconscious.
How?
Unconscious.
How?
Food chain, unconscious, evolutionarily.
Yep. But what are you?
Yeah.
Tastes good.
It tastes good. It's unconscious. Look, human beings should never be treated as an animal, even if unconscious. What do we know of human beings? Look, if human beings miss like a couple days of food, what happens to society? Everyone starts fucking killing each other. It's not every time, but you know, it's common. Couple missed meal. They always say civilized society is a couple of missed meals away from absolute fucking chaos. Okay? Human beings have RAS flips. They rationalize. People steal energy from other people. They rationalize. People have RAS flips. They rationalize. Let me show you something, okay? This is powerful. Let's say that you have a friend, right? And they're really fucking nice. You like them. Do you think they wouldn't flip under pressure? Most will. You know who else will? Most of you will. But I like you anyway. Let me show you why, okay? The extent, okay, we have the regular day part of our brain, and we have the survival part of our brain. If you've had your life threatened a bunch of times and you've lived in that space, you've watched how you react. So you might have a degree of capacity to stay conscious during that time. You guys see that? You guys follow? But if you've never been put under pressure, then when your mind goes into the survival space of the mind, all the tricks that your brain will play on you, they're gonna fuck you up, okay? So how is it that you get control over your mind? You put your mind under pressure over and over and over. And you watch how your mind reacts under pressure. Do you cave? What happens? I have seen it where my closest friends in the world, who I gave everything I had to, got put under a little bit of pressure, and people that I never thought would cave, caved. Damn. Okay? And so this is why, you see how guys talk about women cheating? And they're like, I'm gonna find a good girl who doesn't cheat by her values. You don't know how that girl's gonna react when Drake comes, and there's, because when Drake comes, that is hitting the survival part of her brain that she can elevate, the hypergamy, right? She doesn't know how she's gonna react under that. She doesn't know how she'll react if you have a bad time, and that's why marriage is also dangerous, by the way. You could be married to someone, what if you have a bad time and she leaves? Who's she gonna blame? You. If you go down, your business goes down, the survival part of her brain kicks in, and she leaves. As your business is going down, if you're married, is she gonna not take you to court and divorce you? Do you guys see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're still going to court. And with whose money? Your money. You know what guys do when that happens? Oftentimes, suicide. You've lost your money. Your best friend in the world flipped on you and is suing you and hates you now. But meanwhile, people say, just go get married. Why? Because collectively, that may help society. That's true. But individually, are they gonna fix your suicide problem? Are they gonna pay your bill when you get sued? You see where I'm going with this? So here's how it kind of works if you're a man, but women can learn from this too. As a man, here's another harsh truth. Okay, you guys ready for some more harsh truths?
Yeah.
Okay, as a man, and this is a harsh truth, you recognize that you've built your consciousness probably more than everybody else. And you know that those people seek guidance from you because they themselves are unconscious and can't regulate themselves. That means that you know that you always had to project strength and you could never buckle. Got it? Mm-hmm. And you know that all these relationships that you have are fake. Does that scare you guys? Do you remember I said there's some things that if I don't prepare you for, you'll freak out? Some people, if you tell them this, if they're not ready for it, maybe they'll go blow their fucking breath, right? You have to be careful when you say shit to people, right? So look at the if I say that to people, let's look at some of the reactions. One reaction is, who hurt you, man? Who did someone hurt you? You see that? It's kind of funny because a lot of these even pro-marriage guys will be like, those guys got hurt, and then their girl leaves them. Okay? I'm not a red pill guy, but there's an expression called the red pill's undefeated. You ever heard of that? I'm not a red pill guy, but you ever heard that expression? A lot of the guys who do red pill, they get critiqued, and they just give them about 3 years, and that same guy that's critiquing them, their girl's gonna leave them. So the joke is they wait for that guy's girl to leave them, and they go, red pill's undefeated. It happens over and over and over. It's really funny, okay? So what happens, so these guys go, who hurt you guys, man? All that stuff, right? Anyway, look, I'm not a red pill guy, but I'm just making the point that it's a funny expression. There's some truth in it. So as a man, you recognize that as a leader, the people that you're leading lack the capacity to stay conscious, lack the capacity to handle pressure, or more, and here's what's crazy, they're basically asking you to keep them on autopilot. They're actually asking you as an exchange for your leadership to keep them unconscious. And you know, Jay-Z has this song called I Loved You So. You ever heard that? Ooh, I loved you so. Why that is, I'll never know. You heard that? It's on the Kanye album. Do you guys know that song? And he says, try to teach you how to be a king, but all you want to be is a soldier. And that was because Jay-Z tried to train Beanie Siegel and Memphis Bleak and other people to be kings. He actually tried. I don't know the real truth. I wasn't there. But from what I gather, but maybe I'm wrong, I don't want to talk shit when I wasn't there. So what happens is, Jay was surprised that he's trying to teach them to be kings. They don't want it. They want leadership and to stay unconscious. You want to know why that is? Because people, like a drug addict, will do anything to be told who they are, what to do, to stay on autopilot, to stay unconscious. And here's why. You know a drug addict? You know what we think about a drug addict? You're also a drug addict. You are on a light level drug. You're on a light level drug. What is that light level drug? What do you think it is?
Dopamine.
Dopamine hits and unconsciousness. Anything to not think. Anything to avoid the cortisol of having to think. Do you know that when you run a business, you can predict the stuff that won't get done? Because if it's a little bit monotonous, okay, follow this. Say a bit monotonous, and outside autopilot. They won't do it. Yeah, they'll only, basically, a lot of staff will only do what is in their autopilot and what keeps them unconscious. So you know that, like, if you have staff, even a pretty well-paid staff, and you say, hey, go do this, and it's out of the, thank you so much, and it's out of their autopilot, you can predict they probably won't do it. I remember when I was young, I went to McDonald's, and I'd say, hey, could I get double tomatoes on my Big Mac? And every single time, they would not put the tomatoes on. I'd eat half the Big Mac, I'd go back, I'd say, hey, give me more tomatoes, I'd get a free Big Mac, so I could eat a Big Mac and a half when I was a kid. Why can you predict that they won't put the tomatoes on the Big Mac? They're on autopilot. I remember one time I was at Real Food Daily at the airport. I asked for a cacao goji shake. And the guy looks him in the eye and he says, we've run out. I knew that he's on autopilot. I said, hey, grab your manager. He goes, oh, what? I said, grab your manager. Why? I go, grab him. Brings the manager up. I said, hey, I heard you guys are out of the cacao goji shake. He looks at the guy. He goes, what? I said, yeah, your man here says you're out. He goes, we're not out. It's right there. Why did the guy say he was out?
He didn't want to make it.
Because think about it. His incentive structure is misaligned. He's getting paid by the hour. Better performance won't get rewarded, dopamine. His only goal is to drive to LAX. Probably has to go through radiation security every time he goes through. Sucks. Sit there under fluorescent fucking lights and wait for the time to pass. Human beings are optimizers. What's he optimizing for?
Saving calories.
Autopilot, stay unconscious, save energy. But then what's happening to his brain while he does that? It's going into atrophy. And then he goes home, what's he do? Smokes weed. That's most people. Do you guys know that to get a staff member who's not on autopilot, starting salary is like $10K a month? You know that? I can't find anyone not on autopilot. And what's funny is I'll say that and all these retards hit me up online going, I'm not on autopilot, give me a job. I'm like, what do you do for work now? Well, I don't have a job. Yeah, right, you don't have a job. To get a basic employee who's not on autopilot, starting salary 6 figures, just not on autopilot. Like, you don't have to like use carrot and stick. Do you guys see that? Like, let's coin a term. We'll call it a non-carrot and stick employee. Say that. Non-carrot and stick employee. Like, you're like, wow, a non-carrot and stick employee? They just say the word proactive. Proactive. Self-initiating. Self-initiating. Lateral thinking.
Lateral thinking.
Internal locus of control.
Internal locus of control.
Agency. Non-victim. That at a base level, say accountability. Integrity. Not cutting corners. Maximizing effort. That is so rare. Okay, it's so rare. Now, so you gotta understand, like, that girl who you're dating, okay? Here's what happened. You started dating her, she became attracted. I can even go real deep on how that whole mechanics takes place if you want. Probably should. She's dating you, she's in your frame. You lose frame, you lose value, she REFs, she's gone. That technically means every interaction you ever had with her is fake. Do you know that? Technically. That's scary.
Can you repeat that?
Watch how these are some scary things guys can't get. Watch this, okay? They can't take it. Can't take the heat. Can't take the smoke. I've prepared you. I would ask anyone clipping this video, don't clip this. You've been in a room all day, and I'll tell you this, because I'm preparing you dopamine-wise, energetic-wise, I'm getting you ready for this. You don't just give, like if you're in Scientology, which I don't believe in, but if you're in Scientology, you don't give away the Planet Xenu epiphany at the start. This is like my Planet Xenu, okay? But it's real. Although I guess Planet Xenu is real too, right? So anyway, Okay, follow me. When you're talking to a girl, she likes you or she doesn't like you. If she likes you, human beings are a hive mind. She begins to enter into your frame of reality. I'll be like, I'm really into hiking. And some girl who's into cocaine and dicks suddenly says, I want to go hiking. Okay? So you'll begin seeing it. Okay? You'll begin to see her enter into your frame. Sadly, typically even married women, you start talking about partying and dancing and like not making sex a big deal and hooking up. Even the married girl's like, yeah. And then you're like, is that a ring? Are you married? She's like, like she's entering into your frame. Okay? So when a girl likes you, she enters into your frame. Now, as she enters into your frame, she begins to create a person, like an alternate personality that's still her, but it's like half her, half who she thinks she has to be to get your approval. You might think this is bad, but here's the thing. Human beings, for reproduction, we gotta be compatible. So the woman, God forbid, nice girl, decides to become more compatible, right? So as she becomes more compatible with you, she starts to adopt your values, your view of life. She laughs at your jokes, right? So you're like, hey, why'd the chicken cross the road? And she's like, why? And you're like, 'cause he wanted to get to the other side of the road. And she's like, ah, right? She starts laughing at it, right? Because she's entered in your frame. That's why when a girl, when the cheerleader sees the quarterback, they start to giggle at everything. So you'll see her eyes get big. She agrees with everything. So now what happens is you guys have sex. So here'd be an example. Like I was dating this one girl, and I do not have a lot of rules with girls, but if I'm gonna like invest money into a girl or whatnot, I don't want her like rolling on acid or shrooms or Molly like on my couch. I know, I'm a little controlling, I guess, right? I don't want her blasting weed. I have so many girls that will like want to get drunk or smoke weed, and if they want to party in their time, I don't care. But if I'm like in a serious committed relationship, there's a risk of pregnancy, we're not using condoms, I just ask she's not on coke, okay? So I've had girls where I get them to just go totally sober. Now what'll happen is, while they're in the relationship, what do you think they say about how sober they are? Do they like it or not like it? They love it, okay? Now, when they leave frame because you lost frame, watch this. Then what happens is whatever their previous version would have agreed to, they keep. But whatever their previous version would not have agreed to, they lose. So for example, one girl, she said to me, I was an ex of mine, I lost frame. And she called me, she said, Owen, I want to say how infinitely grateful I am to you that you got me to stop drinking. I actually think alcohol is poison. I used to drink alcohol, you got me to stop drinking it was fucking poison, thank you. Upon reflection though, this is paraphrased, I think that ayahuasca helps my consciousness. So, I don't know why, when I was with you, I kind of regretted doing ayahuasca and drinking. But now that I've had time on my own, I like ayahuasca, but I don't want to drink. Do you guys see what happened there? So, realistically, even without entering into my frame, she probably could have been convinced not to drink booze. But without being in frame, she probably still would have wanted to do ayahuasca. Do you guys see that? So once she exits frame, she will retain the parts that she would have agreed with, but this whole other personality she disagrees with. Okay? Do you guys see that? So when you're in a relationship, that girl has entered in your frame. So you're on vacation with her. You take a boat to Catalina Island. You're having all these conversations, talking, building, finding common ground, sharing experiences, connecting, having sex. And here's what's funny, okay? You could have a small dick, and that girl will like your small dick. You know how I know? Because my ex-girlfriend Kathy had a boyfriend named John. And when I would talk to her, she'd say, you know what I really like, because before we started dating, she goes, you know what I really like? I don't like these big, giant cocks that like split me in half. It hurts. I like a cute little dick. It's cute. Later, I started banging her. And she's like, God, that guy's dick was small. That's why you never have to worry about a small dick. When a girl likes you, she likes a small dick. Later, she'll go, what the fuck was that? I can't believe I fucked a guy with a 1-inch dick. But when she's in it, she likes it. Look, even a lesbian, butch lesbians can seduce straight women. They just put them in frame. Later, the straight girl comes out of the relationship with a butch lesbian. She's like, I can't believe I ate box for a year. They're shocked by it. But in the moment, you know, you've seen it, right? Occasionally you'll see these like really fat, like backwards cap lesbian girls. And they're total gangsters, right? Meanwhile, like a dude who has a dick is complaining, but that lesbian would kill for your tiny dick. And so like, and she's like you'll see this like fat butch lesbian, and she's got like a backwards hat, and she's got this like supermodel behind her, and she's like, and she's looking all possessive and shit too, like kind of like mate guarding. She's like that. She's like, yeah, I'm that motherfucker. I'm that shit. I'm that bitch. You know, right? And then and the supermodel girl's just like, I love her. Wow, she's so cool, right? Have you ever been with a woman before? No, but there's something about her. I don't know. Most of your guys' girlfriends, if you talk to them if they're hot, some butch lesbian seduce them. It's very common. Ask. It's very common. Like, yeah, I dated a girl for a while. I later realized like I need dick, but I don't know. I got swept into it, right? Girls, they get in some guy's frame or some girl's frame, and they just go with it. That's frame. All that relationship that you have with that girl is fake because she was in frame. It's not real. You're talking to her, you're like, I don't like ayahuasca. She's like, I don't either. Yeah, baby, you're the best. You know what most girls will think when they're in love with you? You've got the best dick, the best sex, you're the coolest guy, you're the fucking man, you're like a god on earth. As a man, do you need to pedestalize a girl to want to fuck her? Do you need to view her like a goddess? No. But pedestalization is intertwined with women's attraction mechanism because it allows them to go in frame. Got it? Got it. Okay, so what happens is, say that your girlfriend does a pullback, right? And then you chase validation, she may exit frame. This is hard to hear. Once she exits frame, your brain really can hurt because your mind's playing catch up. You're like, but we love each other. The boat ride, the Disney World, Hawaii, sitting at home in bed. When we went to 7-Eleven, we said we loved each other. We said we're soulmates. We said we'd never break up. We said all these things. And then you go to her and you go, hey, you said we'd never break up. That same girl, the ayahuasca thing, I remember, this is a funny one. God has a funny sense of humor. I give her, okay, look, I'm not proud of this. Can I confess? Okay. I will never lead with money. Never. But if I'm like half a year deep with a girl and she's loyal and we're having great sex, I'm enjoying it, I'm kind of a simp. So I probably gave her like $30,000 in jewelry for like our little celebration, right? It was Valentine's. Okay? That's not that much for me. For most of you guys, it's probably like $10. But the point is, it's still a lot of money. Guess what she gave me? Well, she doesn't have her own money. So she made me these cute little cards. It was so cute. She made me this card deck of all these nice things she'd do for me. One back rub, and she even had like one get out of the doghouse card, right? Okay? She had an anal card, she had a threesome card, she had all. I don't even do anal. So, yeah, so anyway, she had all that, right? Anyway, when she lost frame, I'm like, babe, why are you doing this shit? And she's like, yeah. I go, okay, well, how about this? We'll do the get out of the doghouse card. She goes, I knew you'd say that. I go, well, what the fuck is the card for, girl? Like, I just found it funny. So she knew that when she made that card, it was real, but if she exits frame, it's no longer real. When she says she'll be with you forever, you're her soulmate, you've got the best dick, you're the coolest guy, she believes in you, she agrees with your values, that's real when you're in it. But when she leaves frame, it's no longer real. Here's what's a little crazy too, okay? I have ex-girlfriends, and I'm not wanting to get back to them. You know, they've kind of aged out, whatnot, if I'm being real. But that happens. But I would never necessarily want to become a couple with them again. But I don't know, you guys ever have like a favorite childhood movie that you just go rewatch? You know, you ever just go by like your house from when you're a kid and you just want to like look at it? As a rich guy, do you guys know what I'd pay to just go see an ex and have the version of her that I met on that first day that we connected? Like my old girlfriend from like 2011, We met in Denver. I met her in a nightclub. I approached 3 times, got rejected 3 times. On the 4th time, I got attraction. Went home that night, connected, had amazing sex. And I remember we're sitting in Denver on, you guys know like that, there's like that street in Denver with all the stores kind of thing, right? There's like what's the main street in Denver? Like all this, like, is it 16th? Whatever it is. Like maybe near Union Station or something. I don't know, a bunch of stores, whatever it is. And I'm sitting there with her. You know that feeling when you're with a girl and it's going so good, it's fresh? And it's not even about the sex. Sex is fun. We all like sex, right? But it's like that really even better feeling in some ways than sex, in some ways, where you're just so in love and you just love talking to her and every word she says you want to hear and every word you say she wants to hear. And I remember we're sitting there and we're just eating ketchup pop chips. Cheap, right? Cheap. Ketchup pop chips. I didn't think they'd be good. You know what? Maybe because of her, they were damn good. And we sat there looking in each other's eyes, eating those fucking ketchup pop chips on the street in Denver. And that was one of the greatest moments of my life. It really was. Later, Julian Gate happened. And I sent her to Cabo while Julian Gate was happening. I thought I could send her to Cabo during a media crisis while I was losing my entire livelihood. Dun, 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 what happened? She fucked some dude down there, raw for a week. I did something I'm not proud of. I was so broken from the media fiasco, financial ruin, and the breakup between a media fiasco, being in abject poverty because every bank was locked up. And the cancel culture fucks you in ways you don't know. And then from there, losing my girlfriend, that, what do you think my brain, I couldn't get the money unlocked, so the merchants were frozen. I couldn't fix the cancel culture problems, but what's the one thing I could maybe fix if I begged?
Right.
I said, baby, I forgive you. You know, I was treating you bad all this time. We had done a lot of threesomes, so to be honest, like, we'd fucked a lot of girls together, so maybe she just fucked a guy, you know, but it's different, right? Even though we'd had sex with girls together, it's different if she fucked a guy, even though, because that implies loss of frame. That's the difference, right? So I kind of justified, I'm like, just come back. And I remember just seeing like a number of different things. I could never get the version, it's like she became somebody else. You guys ever notice that after a breakup, it's like they become someone else? Yeah. The freakiest part for a man in a breakup, in my view, is not the loss of the girl. It's the death of the person you knew. And you're like, could the version of you that I knew maybe just come back for like 10 minutes, have a discussion about what happened, say we love each other, have some closure, and move on? But they can't, in many cases, bring that person back. Who here has experienced that? Put your hands up. Yeah, it's a shocking thing. It's more shocking than the breakup. The breakup's like whatever. It feels like they died. And the reason why is because they came out of frame. That person that they built for you was a customized thing for you. So I remember that girl used to smoke weed and used to do Molly. And she was like, you know what? After I had sex with that guy in Cabo, I did Molly again. You know what I remembered? I love Molly. And I also like weed. And I'm back to smoking weed again. I love it. Now she got old, fat, decrepit, broke, and ruined her life. But she came out of frame, so she went back to who she was when I met her. Do you guys see that? So who she was when you met her is who she'll go back to. Although, try to follow. The parts that version of her, the parts that the pre-you version of her would have agreed to without being in your frame, she'll retain those, but the other parts she'll lose. This also happens with staff. If you are a boss and you have a staff, if you lose leadership and leadership is questioned, they will also RAS flip. Say the word with me, RAS flip.
RAS flip.
And RAS flip happens because they are not sufficiently conscious, they lack connection to core values and to their own will, and so their biology takes over. If you want to understand this, if it scares you, go and study prehistory, okay? Go study prehistory. You'll learn about Homo erectus, Neanderthals, human history, and how violent and dangerous it was. From the violent, dangerous environment that we were in, first of all, most women all just slept with one guy. Do you guys know that? The alpha, they just slept with mostly one guy. The girls would naturally cheat a little behind the alpha's back though. Why? Why? Guys, come on. Do you want every kid to be a fucking half brother, half sister? Right. So what would the girls do a little bit? Cheat. What would happen if one of those prehistoric humans from another tribe moseyed over? What's the first thing they do? What happens when an Australian comes to LA?
Right.
What happens when a surfy boy Australian comes to LA? Smashes like 100 girls, right? So the thing is, it's an instinct, okay? So what happens is, cheating is encoded in the DNA. That's another scary part that we don't want to admit. Cheating is a part of our nature. It is. RAS slips are a part of our nature. It is. Lack of consciousness, except for the leader, is a part of our nature. It is. When you're a leader, you need to understand that if people are in your frame, if you lose frame, you lose leadership, they are likely to have an RAS flip. What would be a healthier way for someone to leave you other than an RAS flip if they had consciousness? Yeah, a healthier way would be, hey, appreciate what you offered, had good times. This is no longer a win-win for me, but I appreciate what you brought. But if they were in your frame and they're not that conscious, and then they benefited from the value that you brought, but then you lost strength and they left you for dead, are they going to say, I rode them while they're high and left them while they're low? Are they going to say that? What are they going to say? Look, if you're on the Titanic, a person has two choices. They can help you to put out the fire and bail out the water, or they can be the first one to the fucking life raft. What do most people do? When they go to the life raft, do they go, wow, I'm a real piece of shit for not bailing and putting out the fire? How do I look in the mirror? He was a dick. He had brought it on himself, right? They went under your bed, grabbed the piggy bank. They grabbed your girlfriend. They're paddling off with the piggy bank and your girlfriend. You go, John, I'm up here bailing and trying to put out the fire. That's my girlfriend. Is that my piggy bank? That guy was a dick. And they believe it. Later, you put out the fire, you bail out the thing, you get back into the land, you go, John, what the fuck? And they go, oh shit, sorry, bro. Oh, right? It's common. It's very, very common. When Julian Gate happened, I would see people on Facebook being like, they used to brag about doing training with me. Then there was a media crisis. Many of those same people who I followed, and I've followed their stories and love seeing their progress, were like, I met Owen, he was a dick. That was really weird to me. Later, I saw some of those people on the street and they come give me a hug. So weird. Like it never happened, like they never talked shit. Sometimes I'd just be curious, I'd say, what was that thing on Facebook? They go, oh, nah, it didn't mean anything. I love you, bro. You guys see that? You wanna know the truth? Even if you get a refund when you run a business and someone talks shit, if you just call them on the phone and say, how's the program? They'll say it was awesome. It's true. You wanna know why? Because they go, oh wait, I can get more attention and association to the alpha. You say to them, how was the program now? And they say, amazing. You could have taught the best program in the world, but if they didn't have the will to execute on what you taught them, they might rationalize it was bad. They will forget everything you taught, the effort, the energy, the expertise, the knowledge, the training, all the techniques you use. They forget all of it because if they don't have the will and the strength to execute on it, they can flip. So you know how as a teacher you deal with that? You offer post-program mentoring. That's how you actually do it. That way there's an ongoing reason to stay in a good mood. That's what you do as a leader. Likewise, in a relationship, you don't go get a marriage without a prenup where the person has a financial incentive to RAS flip you. You don't do it. Now, some people hear that, they go, what, are you saying that, like, are you dating a low-quality woman who would flip on you, who you can't trust in a marriage? You motherfucker, you don't know how she'd act when she goes to the survival part of her brain because you've never seen it. Did you take her to fucking Congo and see what happens when a bullet comes at her head? No, you only know what she looks like when she's not in the survival part of her brain. You don't know what she's gonna look like. You have no idea. You don't know her, bro. You don't know her, bro, okay? How will she act when Drake comes up? You don't know. The truth is, for anyone great with women who knows how to raise their status, they watch as girl after girl after girl throws away their boyfriend's hand when you walk by and looks at you and cheats on them with you without even you knowing they're with a guy. Again and again and again and again. If you get good with girls, you will see more infidelity than your brain can process, and you get scared. A lot of rappers talk about this. They're like, I can't get married. I've seen too much. It's just crazy. Like, fuck, dude. Like, it freaks them out. People who run businesses at a high level will see human betrayal and human bad behavior and autopilot at such a level it becomes hard to stomach. Learning about how to write sales and ad copy can be hard to stomach when you see how just by showing a bit of ad copy, people get moved so easily. Looking at genocides like World War II and seeing how an entire country gets manipulated into the Holocaust is sickening. Milgram experiment is sickening. Osh experiments is sickening. You know the Osh experiment? Here's what you do. Say there's like 10 of us here, right? You're the subject and you're all actors, okay? And then this phone here is red, right? But I tell all you guys to say it's yellow. And so you're all actors and you're the person in the experiment. You don't know you're in an experiment. And I say, what's this? You go, yeah, here, I'll just show you what it looks like. Just say yellow. What color is this?
Yellow.
What color? Red. Just go, you're the actor. You're an actor. What color is it? Yellow. What color? Yellow. What color? Yellow. And then he's the real person. I go, what color? He knows it's fucking red. But the point is that under the experiment, like some huge percentage of people believe it's yellow. Their mind fools them. Why does the mind fool them?
Peer pressure.
Safety. Safety, safety, safety. There's only two people who can trust their discernment. Either a very confident person, like an alpha, who believes they're safe, can actually think clearly, or someone connected to God and knows there's a spirit that will live on, is not afraid of death so much. They can see clearly, they have the discernment. But without that, your mind is continually lying to you. RES flipping, going into different frames, being manipulated by different substances, belief systems, energetic things, parasites. You are not yourself. You've got to fight to get that back. You've got to fight to get that back. And here's the thing. If I say things, here's what I could say to you guys. Any of you guys here ever feel like all this stuff I'm saying, I'll just make it go away and you can just have good sex and apple pie? Does part of you feel like, man, this world is just too hard, and if you could just give me the apple pie and some pussy, I will just go back to sleep? That's a normal way to feel. You know what movie tackles that? The Matrix, where the guy wants to be plugged back into the Matrix. We will do anything for that simplicity. But here's the problem. Under a social contract where it all works out, we can create this kind of hamster cage where you can just believe a bunch of bullshit, oversimplified truths, et cetera, and things can kind of work out. You know, you actually go to school, go to high school, go to college, get married, have the white picket fence, the job, retire, and like you live your life very comfortably. Do you know that like that was a thing in the 50s? That could be a reality again. Do any of you guys wish, part of you, tell the truth, part of you wish that you could just go back to that? You had a good guy, a bad guy, life was simple, and some ending to that movie that reinforced social norms. You guys see that? What did the movie Game of Thrones, or the show Game of Thrones show us? The good guy becomes the bad guy. The bad guy becomes the good guy. People are complicated. There's no straight bad guy, straight good guy. Human beings are made of DNA, which is selfish, which rationalizes. It's crazy shit. Do you want to hear another level to this? Okay, how many layers deep do you want to go? Yes. Go. Yo, this is crazy, okay? You guys having fun? Yeah. Okay, here's some crazy shit. I would even see it where, okay, so I saw this up close because I'd coach different instructors and I'd give them my whole following, okay? I'm like, okay, I was like the marriage guy, right? I'm like, just be giving and trust. I was like that guy. So I'd be like, look, I'll take all my fans and dump them on you. Once someone has all your fans, even if you're running it together, what can they rapidly do if they have all your fans? You taught them how to public speak, how to close, made them famous, helped them build products, and you even gave them all your content. They're just doing little twists on your content, but it's really your content. But people attribute that content to them. Once they have that fame, and you're sharing that, and you spent years building that with them, if they leave you and they cut you out, does that help them short term? Yes. They get more money, right? So what would happen was I do that, and it was always right around when they get like their first million or so, and they get really famous. About 2-3 months later, you see the RIS flip happen every time. It's similar. Look, you go get your girlfriend some fake titties, same shit will happen, right? She started off, you're higher value than her, got her some fake titties. Next thing you know, she leaves you, right? It's you know, the guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm not giving him a hard time. It's just a common story. It happens all the time. Gary Vaynerchuk gets famous. goes and leaves the fatty, dates the baddie, right? It's just classic. It's not just him, it's classic. Okay? You guys see where I'm going with this? This is a little bit hard to absorb, I get it. But the mind is always shifting. I'm not blaming Gary for that, by the way. I want to be clear about this. The mind is always shifting. Try to follow this. As you have value, RES is flipping in your direction. Okay, oh, I was gonna borrow you here. Come on front, I'm gonna show you some examples things, okay? I'll show you how it plays out. We're gonna have you be our subject number 2 again. So good to see you again. Oh, thank you. Okay, just shaking hands.
Oh, I'm just like doing this new thing because I'm a new person, transformed.
Beautiful. Shake hands.
I just bowed down to you because.
So no shake hands.
You. Yeah.
Okay. So, what are we seeing there? That's loss. You guys see that's called loss of frame. Okay. Okay. So watch. Okay. How are you doing?
Take off my glasses too. Do I take off my glasses too?
You can. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? What are you inspecting?
Okay, pause. What did you just see there?
Only frame, no reactive.
Okay, here's what you're watching. Is she doing it? She doesn't know she's doing it. Okay. Is it okay if I analyze? Okay. So, initial, we have no frame with handshake. Then, as I move and change, what's she do? She begins to mirror match, right? Then, later, when I do this, what'd she start doing with her hand? Now she's coming out of frame a little bit, okay? So one is validating, and the other's exiting frame. You guys see that? Yeah. Now, what happens, so this is all hyper subtle, okay? So do you see how a little girl can do this to you? Yeah. She's a little girl, but is she harmless?
Yeah.
No, she can mind fuck you in ways you have never been mind fucked. She can take a champion man and make him a puddle, okay? And she knows it, okay? So watch are you guys observing the energy there? Yeah. Can you see when she enters frame and exits frame? Yeah. Okay, so the way that this, how did you find me? When did you find me? How did you find me?
Just today. I just met you today.
Okay, when did you find me online?
I've never met you before.
How did you get here?
You were.
How did you get here?
I'm like, oh my God, I'm finally meeting Santa Claus.
Okay.
The magic is here.
Okay, how did you get in this room?
How did I get here? Magic.
Okay, what is that? Can she control that? This is 100 million years of evolution right here, okay? You see what's happening? Okay? Is she shy about it?
Clock it.
You guys see that? Okay. Even when she goes clock it like that, so she's not going in frame. Did you guys see when they go in frame and out of frame? Did you guys see earlier when she's in frame or out of frame? Yeah. Okay? Can I please have a handshake?
Ancient knowledge. In the flesh.
Share. See how she won't share?
Elaborate?
So if I say share, watch this, okay?
I know you know.
Look at the celebration.
You have the eyes to see.
Watch this,
and the
okay?
ears to know.
If when I say share, why won't she do the share?
Testing.
That's a shit test, right? So I go, watch. If I just say, because if I tell you share, will you do it? Because you're a man. You're not, you know, in the different.
You want me to tap into my masculine energy? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so watch. Okay, watch this. Watch this.
Peak beauty.
Okay, watch this. Yeah.
So you're drinking the Kool-Aid?
Adrenochrome?
Yes.
No. Okay. Okay, so, look at, do you guys see the look on her face?
Yeah.
Do you guys see that?
We don't participate in that?
Okay, what's happening? No, babe. What's happening?
You're honest with me right now? Can I trust you with your word?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you see her looking? Watch her look, okay? You see her, what is she doing when she looks in my eyes?
What am I doing? I'm reading you?
What are you seeing?
Like a book.
What are you seeing?
I see a lot. I just called it out.
So do you see how when I say what are you seeing, she'll take a pause and then say it within her frame? Are you guys seeing that? You're seeing the agreeability and disagreeability increasing and decreasing.
That's ridiculous.
Are you guys seeing what's happening?
Why are you doing this?
What's that?
Why are you doing this, love? I don't understand.
Now she got a whole new accent.
Because you've got to remember. You've got to remember who you are and what you came here to do and what you came here to remind the people.
What do we want to remind the people?
What are we reminding the people? Do not invest in and do not eat any outside food. You're eating literal people. Do you know? 44 gallons of adrenochrome are being literally sent out to Walmart locations. Literally. Do you know how much 44 gallons are? How many babies you've got to torture? Do you know how many babies you've got to torture and kill and gut? Do you know how many babies you have to literally take their insides out and wrap their freaking guts around your fucking neck, put their blood, their baby's pure essence, divine essence, their blood all over your body, and then all of a sudden they're famous and they've got money? Crazy work, huh? Isn't it crazy that we literally have the eyes to see? What if your eyes and your ears were hacked? What if everything around you was an illusion? What if everything was a lie? Why do you think they say follow the white rabbit? You're falling down the rabbit hole and you have to see the truth. And please, tag me when you post it. Thank you.
Okay, come have a seat. Give her a hand, guys. Give her a hand. Okay. Come have a seat right here with me, okay? Okay, so have a seat with me, okay? So, how tall are you?
I don't know, tall enough.
What's happening there?
You qualified.
Are you guys seeing it now? When I say frame, does it make more sense now? Okay. How old are you?
Can you guess?
What do we teach you guys to say when they do it? You guys see it?
I want you to guess. I just want to know.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm going holding frame, and then I'm losing frame with intention. Do you guys see it? Do you guys see how the behavior shifts as you hold frame and lose frame? How erratic can it get if you lose frame? You guys see that? Now, I believe in marriage, the real marriage. But what if a guy's not taught to hold frame? What can happen? So what if a more conservative comes in and says, just get married? And he has not been taught that. So when I teach you that you should go say hi to people when you're out and learn about frame, why am I teaching that to you? Now, if her and I interact over a long period of time, the agreeable version, if I have frame, will begin to generate, and like it's still her, but it's a new version of her meant to be agreeable. What happens if I lose frame to that personality? What's that? Chaos. So when I say things like, are you guys seeing a taste of what I'm talking about here? Let me ask you a question. Do you think this is just women that do this? No, guys also do it when you have frame. Now, I don't know, she won't tell me what she weighs because I can't even get that right now. But it's probably like a buck, okay? So a little girl like a buck can fuck you up, bro. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, what if as her and I interact, we fall in love? We take vacations together. We go to Hawaii together. We hike the Redwood Forest together. We go to Alaska. We see a grizzly bear. We have shared histories. We have photographs together. We made plans together. We have children together. How much is my internal centeredness maybe going to go on her? Is that natural to do? Is that bad? No, it's not bad. But what then happens if she pulls back a little bit?
Then you're off balance.
Do you see how disorienting that can be for a guy? Now, you mentioned that you've dated guys that are on the DL, right?
Made them remember who they are.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Because I'm authentic.
Are you from LA?
No.
Where do you come from?
Oof. Girl.
You can tell me. I'm your friend. I'm really your friend. I'll even be friends with you after this, I swear to God. It's true.
I'm from lots of places, you know?
Where are you actually from? Listen, I will be your friend. I really appreciate, this is real, okay? I'm not fucking with you. I genuinely appreciate you being here. I think you're awesome.
Okay.
I want to be your friend. You could trust me. Okay? Okay. So I'm just trying to learn a bit about you. Okay?
Okay.
How did you first find me? Was it social media?
Yes, from a friend.
From a
I was
friend?
recommended.
Recommended? Okay. How much of my stuff have you seen? What have you seen so far?
Right now,
This is
in
it.
the flesh.
Oh, so this is your first event? Okay, got it. Okay, but your friend didn't come with you?
Yes, of course.
Oh, is he here?
Yes.
Who is it?
Lizard.
Oh, hi.
Lizard of horse.
Well, thanks, bro. Okay, so so he brought you here. Okay, how are you? Okay, I'm your friend. I want to tell you this. Okay, are you LA based?
No, I'm not LA based.
Where do you live normally?
Well, I stay in the IE right now.
What's IE?
The Inland Empire.
That's a cool place. Okay.
It can be.
Well, probably more fun to be here, but I get it. Okay.
I definitely love the ocean more.
Okay, where'd you grow up?
Huntington Beach. So it was definitely a shift. I was like
Got
from
it.
the beach to dry.
What brought you? Huntington Beach is like a pretty nice place. Inland's maybe not quite as fancy. Is that what moved you to Inland Empire?
Excuse me, I've got to burp.
What's that?
I've got to burp.
Go for it.
Okay, now
Okay.
I'm let loose.
Okay. So what brought you to Inland?
Well, I wanted to be closer to my mom because I saw her struggling with her health, and I was like, but then I realized, you know what? I'm not responsible of other people's health. I've got to look for myself first.
Yeah.
Fill my own cup, overflow, and then I could give back to my community.
I can see that. Yeah, and you're a strong-minded woman.
Yep.
Very, very strong.
Powerful.
Yeah. Do you ever find it like sometimes like you're trying to meet a guy or like meet like a really cool guy who you look up to, but it can be hard to find a guy who you respect or look up to at times, or how do you experience that?
Yeah, it can be really hard to find. I feel like they're not really elevated, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they can be really attractive, but it's just like, where's your mind at? You know? Can you emotionally like fulfill me, you know, and protect me in that sense?
Yeah.
And I feel like a man really needs to understand that this is really a spiritual war. And if a woman can really lean onto you, like you're her armor, you know, she knows that you're gonna protect her. I feel like it's like she can finally like, okay, I can let loose. I'm protected. I'm fine. And lots of men are literally distracted by lust, by a lot of like, it may be insecurities, like depression, like stuff that you don't want to face. But I feel like once you really face it, you're like, okay, yeah. Everything, they just come flying. Like, you're literally like, how am I attracting all this when I've been begging for this? And then once you even get to that point, you don't even care about it anymore. Like, it's just, you're so elevated that it's like, this doesn't even faze me. It's like cute eye candy. I love it. I love to see it, you know?
Yeah.
I appreciate the art.
It's really cool.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course.
You know, I want to tell you something, okay? Do you just sometimes guys like they front like they want to be friends with you, but really they just want to fuck, and you'd actually like to have some friends, like actual guy friends who you could trust?
Yes.
I'm one of those guys, and I know you don't believe me. Okay, I know you don't believe me.
I got trust issues, yeah.
Okay, I have a lot of female friends. Okay, I could call them right now. Okay, I fucked all of them. Just kidding. But no, I'm teasing. But no, I have a lot of great female friends. And you could trust me, okay? And I have an army of people that have your back, okay?
Yes.
Do you understand? Okay, so you can feel always 100% safe in this environment. We think you're feisty. We fucking love you. We think you're so cool.
Thanks.
Okay? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want you to always feel super comfortable here. You bring good energy here. You got good energy. You're thinking for yourself. I see that you're strong. I see you're beautiful internally. I see your soul. Do you understand? I can see into your soul. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I really can. I see who you are. I see your frustration. I get it. Okay, I'm here trying to help that situation as best I can. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying my best. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that you're trying your best too, and I really love you. Okay.
Yes, I love you
And
too.
we're gonna be friends. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna be friends forever. I promise. Okay. If you want to be. Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you guys give her a hand? That was super dope. That was very helpful. Okay. Are you guys able to learn about how to be a man from that kind of thing, et cetera, et cetera? Are you seeing anything there?
Yeah.
So are you seeing, and can you see how women distrust guys who can't even own their own fucking frame? Because what it implies if you can't own your own frame is that other people are fucking with you, they're fucking with your will, they're fucking, like, do you see the kind of stuff that's happening here?
Yeah.
Do you see the shift from derision, frustration, brattiness to openness to letting go to feeling safe? Women talk about this, by the way. Have you ever, you know what I'm talking about? Women talk about this, right? About how they don't feel safe with a guy. A guy doesn't make them feel safe. And then guys are like, well, I can beg and be a simp and so on, but it actually scares them more. Do you guys see that? Now, have you guys ever heard this idea of being vulnerable with a woman? They tell you to be vulnerable, and then guys misinterpret that as you should go talk about how scared you are and like your business is failing and go dump that into them. You have to show strength, show alliances. And when you guys see that a woman experiences that, do you guys realize that men feel that too? Your employees feel that too. Because guys, we're all struggling to become conscious. Do you guys understand that? Everybody's struggling to become conscious, and everybody's kind of in their own world. They're getting pulled into other people's frame. They're getting pulled into different food addictions, drug addictions, information addictions, mimetic addictions, mimetic attack on their mind, belief system attack on their mind, cult programming, a lot of stuff, okay? And when you actually get into the Bible, that's actually meant to teach you not to be like a dogmatic Christian who just goes, the way, the truth, and the light. It's actually teaching something much more profound, much, much, much deeper, much, 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 much deeper. And I'm not trying to front like I'm some Christian guy with like a unique preacher or something. I'm not at all. But I have reading comprehension, and you can read, okay? So I'm not holding myself out as something I'm not. I'm just saying you can read, okay? They call that the eyes to see. So a lot of these ideas, like even what you're seeing here, can be very hard for guys to process. That like somebody who is like reaching out needs strength, and their personality will form around strength, but will go into survival, shit testing, and derision when there's a lack of strength. Do you guys see that? But guys do that too. Those things that happened to me with instructors, that was me giving all my power to them, building them up, but becoming so vulnerable that the leadership component wasn't there, and they flip. Is what was happening. And I just see this happen again and again and again. I'm like, this is so weird. It's so weird. And I saw it happen with girls. It's like I had my girlfriend during the Julian issue, and then she flipped, and I could never see that version of her again. I remember, I'll tell you a story, okay? I tried to get that girl back, the one I told you about, right? The Denver one, after she had cheated. I'm not proud of that, by the way. I'm not holding myself out as like a role model. Like I tried to get her back. Like it's really terrible. It shows in what look. Have any of you guys here ever had your girlfriend either cheat or do something really bad? And you begged her back anyway. Just tell the fucking truth. Put your hand up high if you. Yeah. How broken were you when you did that? Really broken. How broken? You're broken. Yeah. It's like it's a covert form of abuse basically, but not like abuse, but it's not good. It's like it affects you in a similar negative way though, even though it's not physical abuse. So the point is like it'll fuck you up. That's when you're broken. I was broken. Media fiasco. Literally bankrupted. Just thought if she'd just come back, it would look like before. Do you guys see how I hit my ceiling of what I could take? Repeat this after me. Everyone has a ceiling of what they can take before their mind tweaks out and goes into survival. It's just what it is. And again, guys who are really good with women, who have a lot of value, they watch as they present so much social value. Say that you go up to a couple, your social value, you wind up looking like a celebrity. Your social value is so high, they just jump into your frame. It's crazy. And so you see this, and then you see these guys, and they go, you know, you just got to get a better girl who has integrity. That's why she cheated. It's like, dude, you're going way too simple here. You would probably cheat given the chance. No, I wouldn't. You don't know, bro. You'd probably already slip on your friends if you had the chance. No, I wouldn't. You don't know, bro. And then, so you have an unconscious person blaming another unconscious person. I'll get a girl that wouldn't flip, but they themselves would flip. Do you guys follow this? So this has to be understood that as a man, your goal is based. Look, I don't want to tell you what your goal is. You got to pick your own fucking goal. I'm just telling you what I think. Here's your goal. I run the frame. So your basic goal is that you've got to get back awareness. Okay? Say that I've got to reclaim awareness. And so basically, what happens is that say I only get conscious briefly. While I'm conscious. I have to do things that make me more conscious. It's basically what it is, right? So try to follow, right? It's like going to the club. High five. Only took you 2 seconds to say high five. You became conscious. Like you're kind of, what's your autopilot telling you when you're going to do the high five? What's your autopilot telling you? Don't do it. And then you go, oh, high five. Ah. Sorry about that, okay, right? But what happens when you made yourself be conscious? A little more conscious. High five. Bit more conscious. You see that? High five. Bit more conscious. You guys see how you're stacking a non-autopilot, right? creating a foundation, creating a stable mindset, then hey, good to meet you. Next thing you know, you're making out, you're having fun, you're crushing it. See how that works, guys? Yep. Pretty cool, right? Now look, spiritual texts like Tao Te Ching will help. Bible's massive. Eckhart Tolle's massive. Books about willpower, like there's a book called, there's actually a book called Willpower, Winter Effect. Getting in nature. Getting into nature. Getting into flow states. Meditation helps. Hard hikes help. Challenge helps. Doing things that scare you helps. Pushing into your boundaries helps. Being kind of funny, but doing a 3-day free event with no script helps, right? So, anything like that will help you, right? A night out of free association and chatting people when you're scared helps. You remember I said that guys think about the stuff I teach is like this pit of promiscuity, like you were just undisciplined and just went around getting chlamydia and doing coke. But what I'm showing you is actually awareness training. Okay, I'm showing you awareness training. It's not you getting the clap and doing coke. It's awareness training. I actually tell guys, you don't need to have a ton of casual sex. I don't even necessarily recommend that. I think the best thing is just to work on do it as a social exercise to learn about how to cope with rejection, fear, free association, winter effect, and getting in self-control. And then if you meet a great fucking girl, then you can start dating her. You don't have to have sex with someone. Unnecessary. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just saying what I'm teaching is not about casual sex at all. In fact, when you meet that incredible woman, look, think about it this way, right? If all day long I'm selling free tours, and, well, I'm not selling them, I'm just saying come to the free tour, and all day long I'm selling cheaper programs, when I have a multimillionaire client, is it easy to close him on a multimillion-dollar sale? What if I never sold a free tour, never sold cheap programs, and I get a multimillionaire client, and my whole business survival is in that one guy? What's gonna happen? Well, then how the fuck are some of these people that teach guys not to learn to be better with women saying, just be a cool guy and you'll meet her when you're out? No, you won't. You'll fumble. You don't think you'll Okay, when you see the kind of shit tests that happen and you start getting shit tested, look, here's what's crazy, right? So many guys are such fucking losers because they see a girl shit test, they call her low quality, right? So if they saw her shit testing me, what would some guys call that initially? They call it low quality. But then who did she turn out to be when I showed safety? High quality, crying in gratitude. Oh my God, I can feel some fucking safety. She feels unsafe. So a loser guy calls her bad quality, but an enlightened guy says you're making her not feel safe. Now a white knight, you know what a white knight says? How do you make her feel safe? With flowers. While failing shit tests, as I was showing you. Do you guys see that? But how is actual safety achieved? Frame. How do you get frame? Will. How do you get will? High five. Winter effect. Chatting people. How you feeling over there, by the way? Still okay? Okay, thank you. Guys, how much did that help, what you saw with her? How much did that help you? How much? Give her another hand. I mean, that was amazing, right? So, okay. So, guys will be, oh, it's bad quality. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. You're making her feel unsafe, not because you didn't get enough flowers, although you can get that too. You can also get the flowers, but it's that your frame. But they don't teach guys about frame. Imagine some guy thinks that marriage or just getting jacked and rich will solve that kind of interpersonal dynamic. And then I've got to go on Instagram going, it's not just looks at money, it's not just looks at money, it's not just the money, it's not just, right? And I'm like, I'm seeing something you're not all seeing. You guys see what I'm saying? Yeah. And then arrogant motherfuckers want to test me on this. It's like, bro, I've been out 25 years. What you saw here, I've seen hundreds, thousands of hours. I don't know what the math is on it, but some ungodly amount of hours of it. You know what cold approach teaches you? Frame. Because your frame is getting tested. You know what it's kind of like? You ever seen like Lord of the Rings, and like Gandalf has like the magic wand, he's like, and then the other character has like the wand, and they're kind of like shooting the ray at each other, right? The person who's able to hold frame is able to be proactive in their frame, and then the other person in frame collapses, and they collapse into that frame. Like the Milgram experiment, like the Osh experiment. And nobody's getting this. And look, at some point, guys, I've got to grow this thing, okay? And if I grow this, This is really, really heavy stuff, and this is the free event. Can you imagine how crazy the paid event goes? The guy that paid, they actually wanted, like, they're like, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying, right? So a lot of what I teach is getting into a lot of hard to absorb truths, okay? And you've got to be ready for it. But as you are, you become a player in the game of life, not just an automaton, okay? And, you know, basic skill sets like sales and marketing lets you become a millionaire. Basic skills like social skills allows you to attract a mate. Learning social skills also allows you to assert frame, which helps you with money. Learning to control your mind creates an enlightenment of the soul. So personal growth is a very, very, very deep topic. I love Tony Robbins. And I like going to Tony Robbins, writing down my values on a Bristol board and jumping up and down. Because it's kind of like a big party. And Tony Robbins paved the way for me to do a seminar like this and made this normal. I also like Eckhart Tolle. He's a fucking genius and gets to be present. I created the self-help content that I always wish someone would make for me. I love those guys. But I always wanted to know the damn truth. I'm like, what's the truth? Like, tell me the truth. You know, like, this is great. My values. I need to know the truth. The block to it is this. Most self-help is meant to create a golden jail. Most self-help is not meant to break you out of the jail. Because what if the golden jail is comfortable? What would you rather have? A golden jail where everything is perfect and beautiful and fun, or breaking out of the jail with a bunch of fucking short-faced bear and fucking, if you know what that is, and like animals trying to kill you. But you're alive, right? But here's what people don't get. Stop waiting and wishing that life would be easier and start wishing that you would be better. I'll say that again. Stop wishing for life to be easier. Say it with me.
Stop wishing for life to be easier.
And wish for yourself to be better.
Wish for yourself to be better.
Wish for myself to be more awake.
Wish for myself to be more awake.
Wish for myself to be able to handle more.
Wish for myself to be able to handle more.
Effortlessly.
Effortlessly.
Okay? Like me, in the wheelchair, et cetera, right? Those are the moments that test you. That's, you know, papers no, but it's just bullshit. But the point is, like, those little moments that test you, that's your actual growth. What kind of experience do you want? And here's the best part, okay? A lot of people would like the easier one. But is there an easier experience? Does that even exist?
No.
If you get hung up looking for that easier experience, what's going to actually come to your doorstep eventually? It's going to be suffering. Here's what you're not getting. Look, I'm trying to rile you up and inspire you, but the truth is there's a part of me that wishes for the golden jail too. And all that it took was me going into the golden jail and then getting kicked out. And then in the golden jail and getting kicked out. And in the golden jail and getting kicked out until I finally said, you know, I don't trust this golden jail. And you guys feel that way a little bit? Yep. Right? So at some point you go, I just had to be fucking better. Like, you know, I'm not getting out of this shit. I just gotta be better, man. I don't know what to say. And so you'll get to a point where bullshit can happen and you're at peace with it. It's not that you like it. It's not that you're trying to be a tough guy. You just understand. You know what Winston Churchill says? And you want to remember the definition of history? The definition of history, repeat this after me, is one damn thing after another. Isn't that a funny definition of history? Think about that. The definition of history. The definition of the word history is what? One damn thing after another. I think that was Winston. And it was somebody. So point being is this, okay? So you realize it's just one damn thing after another. So as a guy, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but here's what I'm trying to point out to you, okay? You're conscious as fuck, but you can break out. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not holding myself out as a role model. I'm just somebody who's worked on it. Okay, the way to think about me, do you guys remember Joe Weider, who that is? Joe Weider, as far as I remember, tell me if I'm wrong, was one of the original guys that made up weightlifting. Am I right about that? Bodybuilding, right? So he was kind of one of the OGs? What's that? He started Mr. Olympia. Well, he's one of the OGs, right? Now, was Joe Weider like the biggest, or like Charles Atlas? Were they the biggest that ever did it? No. So what was, okay, you know, Schwarzenegger is bigger, Mike Menser is bigger, Jay Cutler's bigger, Ronnie Coleman's bigger. All these people are bigger. What was unique about a guy like Joe Weider? He spotted what was possible. Well, he was one, my understanding, maybe I'm wrong about my history of this. Okay? How good were the original basketball players? What was the original basketball like? Right? How's that compare to LeBron now? Right? Steph Curry. But what's cool about the original basketball players? They started the shit. Right? So there's an exertion of energy that's required to just see. Once you see it and it's laid out, you have a direction, then you can kind of take it from there, right? I pray that with the content that I'll leave behind after I'm dead, other people will go so much further than me. That people will pick out my videos and go, he was incongruent here, and he wasn't aware here, and he sucked with girls here, and his public speaking sucked there, and his sales sucked there, and this sucked, that's great. Great. Should we look at Joe Weider and think his physique was flawless? No, and that's not me either. But what I applied myself to was trying to go out of the box and see. What'll happen is, look, a lot of my stuff will get demonized, and later people will look at it. I know that I'm not making this for today's audience. I know that. I'm not stupid. Okay? Ty Lopez, my buddy, he says it. He says, never be too far ahead of your time. Why? You're going to get demonized. Okay? You're too far ahead of your time. The whole idea of, and I'm not fucking Jesus, I'm not at all, but shouldn't even say fucking Jesus, okay? I'm not Jesus. Okay. But what I'm saying is, what is the lesson that we get from the crucifixion of Jesus? When, okay, the guy that was going to crucify him said, do you want to crucify this bad guy or Jesus? What did they say? Was it Barabbas, right? What did they say? They wanted to crucify Jesus. Why? Because that demon in them that keeps them asleep, he knew that they'd wake him up. That's why the Pharisees attacked him. What did Jesus say to the Pharisees? I'm not Jesus, okay, guys? I'm just saying, what did Jesus say to the Pharisees? He called it, he said, in not so many words, repeat this after me, performative awakening. Performative awakening. LARPing. Cosplay. Performative spirituality. Virtue signaling. Right? He's basically saying, yeah, you know, you say, you know, don't work on the Sabbath or things like that, but it's not about not working on the Sabbath. It's about what's in your heart. It's not about doing charity and making a spectacle of it. It's actually wanting to give. That's what he was really saying. So he got crucified for that because those are the practices that would lead to awakening. Performative spirituality is another block to awakening. Do you guys see that? Mm-hmm. Do you guys see how that's almost like a block to awakening final boss? Yeah. Right? Because now you're LARPing as a spiritual person. That's a hell of a block. That spiritual LARPer, LARPer, live action role play, that spiritual cosplayer, costume play, is very blocked because they literally believe that they're waking up. They're like, I did my charity, I was the Pharisees, I didn't work on the Sabbath, but are you awake? That's the only question. It doesn't matter what you did as much as are you awake. What you did is important too, but you know my point. So, as a leader, you're continually in the practice of reclaiming awareness so that you don't RAS flip, so that you're strong in the survival part of your mind. And here is the last piece that will scare you. What if what you learned is that there is no you at all? That'd be a little crazy, right? So in the Lord's Prayer, when Jesus says, basically, paraphrase, not my will be done, but thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. What does that mean? From my point of view, it means you don't even fucking exist. Something is always running you. And you, by the small, limited amount of choices that you have, call that energy into you. Jesus would have called that the Holy Spirit. You're calling that into yourself. So as human beings, repeat this after me. Say, as human beings, we are antenna receivers, of energy. And What's the word? What's the other word for receiver when you emanate? It's been a long day here. Oh, yeah, say that. We are transmitters of energy.
Transmitters of energy.
So, right, so we think like, I'm Owen, I'm John, not realizing that we're receiving energy and transmitting energy. Another thing that you'll learn, this is crazy, okay? This is so crazy. You know what you'll learn? Every time that you're talking to somebody, this is so crazy. You think, okay, this is John, like what's your name?
Josh.
Josh, I'm talking to Josh. But what's actually happening is we're talking and we're exchanging ideas. And that's one layer. Say the layer of ideas. We're also communicating in the layer of frame and status. Say that.
Frame and status.
Say it, guys.
Frame and status.
Right? So it's the shit testing, the frame, all that. Okay, like what we did. Then say there's the energetic layer.
Energetic layer.
So that's the layer of energy. So if I have, Jesus would call that Holy Spirit. If I have that in me, I'm emanating that into you. If I'm satanically possessed, I'm emanating that into you, right? When someone assaults someone, really what they're doing is they're infusing them with that energy that deranges them. Sometimes if a kid gets assaulted in a grotesque, horrific way, it causes schizophrenia. It causes them to have multiple personalities, it splits their mind, it breaks their mind. That's what's so horrible about it, more than even the physical act that's already horrible. It's what it does to the mind. It's infusing them with the goddamn demon energy that the mind can't take at that age because there's no filter, okay? Have any of you guys ever, this is a sad thing to say, okay? But in this room, let me just be honest with you guys. I know that there's some of you in this room that are ready to go all the way. I know. And I also know there's some of you in this room that, and I say this with no offense, and what's sad is the person who this is, and there's a couple in any given room, don't even know that it's them. They literally don't know. They're completely unconscious. They have the demon of time wasting in them. And they'll come up to me in the hall. I'm not saying that this is the case, but remember the guy who's trying to get the autographs? Look, maybe he might just be a little naive, little cute little guy. But the point is that need to just waste time. Wasting time is like a little death. It's like we only live a certain amount of years. So if somebody's dying, we only live a certain amount of years, right? So if you get a day wasted, that's not like you got murdered, but in a way, is it? Yeah. It's like a one-day murder. Yeah. You dig? Yeah. You didn't get murdered. There's a big gap. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm not saying anything too crazy. But in a thought experiment way, if I steal an hour of your time, I kind of metaphorically murdered an hour of your time. Mm-hmm. Some people that are just infected just waste time. And there's nothing you can do for them. The best you could do for them is get them to leave so that you don't enable it. Make a bit more sense now? Make a little more sense? Okay, so get it now, right? See what's happening there? Okay, I see. So, it's crazy. I'll have guys come up to me, and sometimes they'll be like I've seen crazy shit, okay? I don't even like talking about this, but I'll tell you some of the crazy shit I've seen. They'll be like, hey man, I've had a really good company exit. I've got about $1 million to invest. Could you come talk to me? And I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll come talk to you, right? That'll help my organization. That can give raises to my people. That can help a lot of people do more free events. It's great for everybody involved. I'll go spend some time with you. And you sit there with them, and they're actually lying. And you talk to them, and then they say, hey, can we meet up tomorrow to do this? And they're completely happy. They're smiling. And then you meet up with them the next day to talk about it a bit. It's $1 million deal. To me, that's not even that much. Not to freak you guys out, that's not that much, but it helps. So it's like $1 million deal, so I go. And the whole time they're smiling, and you realize later they're lying. They literally don't have it. But what's weird is, here's what's weird. Did that even help? Did wasting a bunch of my time and just alienating me, did that even help them? No. Did them doing lunch with me and getting a photo even help them? No. It's literally them they're wasting my time. Who else's time are they wasting? Their own. It's super weird, dude. It's fucking weird. And people like that will come up on you. They just do. There's other people, have you ever seen trolls in comments where they troll you and then you answer and then they somehow deliberately misinterpret your answer to annoy you for your need to get approval and to be understood, so you answer again. And then they misinterpret you again, and then you keep doing it. I'm going to tell you guys something, okay? I was honestly curious about this stuff. I was genuinely curious. When I was 21, 22, 22, 23, there was this guy who would do this. And I was just young, right? On a chat forum. I was curious, who is this guy? I said, would you mind coming to meet up? Turned out he was in Montreal, a city where I was going to go visit. I said, would you mind coming to meet up? I just went on to meet you. Okay, he was talking all this shit. It wasn't even me trying to prove a point. I was just curious, who is this guy? Man, I met up with him. This guy had a car that reeked of death. He had this patchy beard, although to be fair, I look a little crazy too. Patchy beard, made no fucking sense, and filled with sickness and derangement. That derangement was in him, it was hurting him. He's a receiver of energy, but what else is he? He's a transmitter. By me engaging with him, do you think that I fixed anything? No. Here's what I did. I sat there with him for hours trying to talk some sense to him. He went right back on that message board the next day and made up a bunch more lies. I met up with Owen, here's the lies, all that shit. That's what these guys do, okay? So they're infected. When Jesus talks about getting rid of demons, that's the kind of stuff he's talking about, okay? That's what he's getting at. So you got to understand, like, a lot of this energy that tries to get in you is deception. It's dragging you down. It's depleting. A simple way to put it is everything that you consume or let in you, whether psychologically, spiritually, or nutritionally, or whatever, time-wise, you could almost rate what it gives out of 10 and what it takes out of 10. Does that make sense? What it gives out of 10 and what it takes out of 10. So it's giving you X amount and taking X amount, right? You might have a job, and that job gives you an 8, but takes a 9. Or maybe that job gives you an 8, but takes a 2. Does that make sense? So there always has to be excess focus, excess awareness, excess awakening, excess energy. And as you do this more and more and more, you wake up. Here's the main key to summarize. What it fundamentally comes down to is awakening and getting back proactive control. Continually looking at your capacity to be focused, to have extended focus, to control emotions, to control creativity. Big one is to control perception, because you don't even know if what you're perceiving is real. You've got to question if what you're perceiving is real or false because your RAS is being fucked with. Osh experiment, Milgram experiment, RAS flip, frames, addiction. I told the story of my buddy who was a drunk, and he'd puke on himself. He would look at me and he'd swear up and down he wasn't drunk. Do you guys realize the alcohol was speaking through him? He was possessed. For an alcoholic, what do they have to do to break the addiction? What do they have to do? They have to hit rock bottom. They have to hit so much pain that the parasite stops. Here's how a parasite works. Follow this. I've talked about it. Imagine if a heroin junkie has to go cop heroin to get high. Is there some resistance there to cop the heroin and shoot it? They got to give an old man a hand job in the park. They got to cop the dope. They got to shoot it. Find a place to crash out. What if they could just tap their finger and feel high on heroin? Would that reduce the resistance? How about, pay attention, if they could just think the thought heroin? What would then happen? Heroin, 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 heroin. Could they ever come out? No. Could they ever come out? If they're in, say the word flywheel. That's a wheel that's building on its own momentum. So they go heroin, 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 and they're like that, they're gone. They're literally gone. Yep. That, try to follow this. You know when I talk about unconsciousness? That's what I'm talking about. So what is it that then breaks the unconsciousness? Rock bottom. When it gets so bad that it threatens your existence and is so painful that you snap out of it and you wake up. What is AI going to do to us? It's going to make it where that pain never comes. We need that pain. We need that approach anxiety. We need to build that business. We need to do that hike, et cetera, et cetera. We have to. There's no other way out of it, okay? So what happens is that flywheel is a parasite. Okay, so try to follow me here. You know you can have a parasite living in your body like worms, tapeworm, candida, whatever, right? You have animals that come and attack you, et cetera. What if there were parasitic energy forms or thought forms? What if the real you was actually being enveloped and parasitically leech off of by a mimetic misinformation, by addiction, by frames, by flywheels, and it's not even you? That's crazy, right? And it's not even you. I don't even expect most of you in this room to understand this. I'm recording this for posterity for when I'm dead. I'm not trying to be, I know I sound like a crazy narcissist when I say it. I'm totally self-aware on that, okay? Because this will be, much like Joe Weider, this will be an area of study after I'm gone. This is not going to blow up in my lifetime, most likely. It might. We need a human awakening project. It might. But this is me as the tip of the spear. I understand who I am. I understand who I am in the course of history of this. I understand the demonization. I understand how hard this is. I understand what my journey is. I know what I have to do. I know that why I'm doing it and all that. I get it, okay? I get it. I'm an extreme person running around doing free events, posting super long videos, loading it with info. I understand, okay? I know who I am. I'm not in this to get a goddamn applause. I appreciate the small applause I get here a lot. But what I'm saying is there's a deeper awakening that's possible, okay? Quick question, yep.
Yeah, are you concerned with like the mass majority of people who are unconscious? Like, do you want to tap into that group, or?
I think that sometimes God gives a more simpler journey for us, and sometimes God gives a fucking movie. And so I got a bit of a movie here, and that's okay. And I keep stepping into that and leaning into it and not asking for the movie to get easier, but asking for me to get better. And so challenging myself more, taking on more complex speech types, more complex type of public speaking, free association, delivery, groups, etc. And that's okay. And it's a weird coincidence how at every level, it's funny how it works. Funny how it works. But every level, I have just enough strength to get to the next level. Like the thing that would have hit me now, if it would have hit me a year ago, I'd have failed. The thing that hit me a year ago, if it would have hit me even a month before, I would have failed. It's amazing how when you call this into yourself, the challenge just keeps getting met with that next level of strength. So don't hide from it. Don't hide from it. Embrace it, lead into it, be grateful for it. Don't ask for it to be easier. Pray for strength, adaptation, and keep doing it for other people and for God. I'm telling you, you will get a strength that you can't even begin to imagine. And that's even what I was getting at before. We think about sex as a pleasure. Why do we think about sex, money, etc. as the biggest pleasure? Because that's what we're told. Does that make sense? If you're told, like what are we told is the good life? Sex, money, fame, pleasure. It can be fun, right? But what do we know people who get too much of that? Are they happy? No. But then what do Christians or spiritual people do when they hear it doesn't make you happy? Then what do? That they don't even try. Things like making money allow you to take your kids on into nature, allows you to do free events like this. You can't, okay, look, I made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Do any of you guys just run around doing free events and putting out videos? The capacity to do these things require you to make money. How much can you give if you don't have money?
Not so much.
All those same people who sit there complaining that you're pushing ahead, who do they come to when they're in trouble? They say all you care about is money. Who's the first person that they brag that they know to other people? Do they brag that the guy living in a cardboard box they know? Do they go to the cardboard box for help? No. Who do they go to? Okay? So when we talk about spirituality or we talk about enlightenment, a common way that we take it is, be more giving, charitable, be a good person. That's one form of enlightenment, right? Another form of enlightenment might be get more present to the moment and become unattached, right? So the first is a more Christian stereotype, which I don't think that's what Jesus teaches at all, by the way. It's much deeper. A second might be a more Eastern philosophy version. An American version could be make that money, y'all. That's their version of God, golden calf, right? But do you guys realize that your own personal enlightenment doesn't have to be as simplistic as just letting go of attachment and being present? It doesn't have to be as simple as just being a good guy. Like, I'm just a good guy, going to heaven. Kept my head down, had a wife, a kid, worked as a bus driver, and was a good guy. Look, that's beautiful. That's honest fucking work. That person gave more than they took. That's fucking great. But does it have to stop there? Is that your limit? Or do you have more? Do you have more in the tank? Here's another thing I'd say to you. Study prehistory. Take a month, 4 or 5 hours a day in your spare time. Just go to YouTube, go wherever, go where you can find videos. Study our prehistory. We go back millions of years. Homo sapiens are not the most successful species. It was Homo erectus as far as they say. I believe they said they were around, I think it was 2 million years. Survived for 2 million years. Fought incredibly hard predators. Survived ice ages, volcanoes. Our lineage is capable of outrageous amounts of work, outrageous amounts of survival, outrageous amounts of forward progress. We need, as men, masculine grounding, say masculine grounding, as well as say masculine forward momentum. Masculine grounding, masculine forward momentum. Masculine grounding, masculine forward momentum. Right? That's like the guy who's like, I'm too cool to approach a girl. Well, maybe he's grounded. You know, I don't approach, I attract. What about masculine forward momentum? You saw a woman. Why didn't you go say hi? I don't chase business opportunities. Why? You come from, not that you're hunting anyone, but you come from hunters. You come from a hunter lineage. Why are you afraid of that forward momentum? Do you guys actually understand the first thing I understand is that every one of us is related. Do you guys all get that?
Yeah.
Every single one of us is related in this room. I'm not just trying to be feel good. You know that, right? Yeah. This is real. You're related to me, every one of you. Do you guys understand your ancestors, who they were? You know, I think it'd be a cool, I don't have a lot of gifts, but there's one gift I want. I have I bought it. Guys, you don't even want to know how much money I spent. I bought everything. One gift I still want to get, I think it's called a Uchulian axe or something. What's the name of the old axes that, what is it? Uchulian, whatever the fuck. I just read about this. I don't even know how to pronounce it. What is it? Euclidean axe. Yeah. These were the hand axes that Homo erectus used. You know why I want it? Because that's my great granddaddy's axe. That's my axe. I want that. I would cry if I had that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because that axe, we had that. We built that. Okay? So you can find a lot of strength in God, and you can find a lot of strength. Lean on God, lean on awareness and your process, and you can also find strength in your ancestry, in who you came from. We're all related. You know some guys are mad at women? You know half your ancestors or more are women, right? You know how some people are racist? You know a huge amount of your ancestors are racist, racist. Probably true. Probably true. You know a big part of your ancestors are from the same race. We're related. Some people hate gay people. You know that some of your ancestors were gay. You know that, right? Yeah, some of your ancestors want to get their dicks sucked by a dude. Okay? Quite a party, probably. So, okay? So, but you know, your ancestry has been through incredible things. A lot of modern day society, what's it really meant to do? It's meant to block us from our ancestry. It's meant to block us from who we are. There's all these potentials that we don't even see activated. We don't even understand it. I don't teach this, and I'm not giving medical advice, but I learned how to never get sick. That's a weird thing that's not taught. I can't teach that because unless I do a double-blind study, I'd get banned if I taught it, so I don't teach it. You get super banned. You want to get canceled? That's number one way to get canceled. You get medical advice. You're not proven. But I'm on a hell of a roll. 15 years, no sickness. I taught that to myself. But, you know, maybe it's a coincidence. Coincidence, right? Yeah, just a coincidence. And I'm kind of fat. And I miss a lot of sleep and I deal with stress. Why don't I get sick? How come I just keep not getting sick? Why? Ask anyone who knows me. Have you seen Owen sick? Ask them. So I taught that to myself. Not a double-blind study. I'm not giving medical advice. The point that I'm getting at is I taught myself how to absorb huge amounts of information, how to synthesize information, how to largely wake up. I taught myself how to figure out what my core strengths are. I taught myself how to tap in. I taught myself creativity. I taught myself sales and marketing. Do you guys understand how easy it is for me to make money? You guys see Marcel? Who taught him? I taught him when he's 19. Who here sees how Marcel lives? Proof's in the pudding, guys. Do you know how easy it is for me to make money? Guys, you ever heard the expression, y'all doing too much? These spiritual people who talk about how making money is like hard or whatever, y'all doing too much. Like, just go make a couple $1,000,000. It takes like a couple months. Why are you taking so long on this? You're being weird, dude. Like if someone said, I can't make $20, I can't make $5, I can't make $5, that's like 5 million. Now I say that and everyone goes, oh, you're just selling them on a dream. No, you're just retarded. Okay? You're fucking retarded. Your ancestors survived a volcano, killed a saber-toothed cat and a fucking woolly mammoth, but you can't make an internet funnel? You fucking loser. You fucking loser. Okay? You fucking loser. I was giving them false hope that they could make $5 million. Your ancestor killed a short-faced bear. It killed a 13-foot tall bear, and you can't write a sales ad? You're doing too much. It's like these guys that are like, you can't approach women. Cold approach is bad, and it's you should just don't chase or track. It's like, or just go say hi. What, are you dumb? It's too much masculine grounding, not enough masculine forward momentum. The spiritual thing, not making money, too much masculine grounding, not enough masculine forward momentum. We're built to be hunters. Doesn't mean go hunt somebody, but we're built as hunters. We're built as hunters. We're extreme level super geniuses. Okay, let me be clear. Everyone in here, extreme level survivor, super genius, hyper competent, hyper amounts of energy, and none of you get tired, by the way. That tired thing is such bullshit. You're not getting tired. Okay, yes, you go to bed at night, but your energy levels are so damn sustainable. You're not out of ideas. You're not running out of things to say. It's all a lie. You're not upset. You're not sad. Yes, you have a brief period of it, but that's not how you operate. You're not depressed. This is all just a learned behavior. It's fucking bullshit. It's a fucking lie. It's a meme in your fucking head. The chance of you even being alive is so low between the odds of the planet. Do you guys understand all the things that had to happen from the Ice Age and the dinosaurs onward to even be alive? Do you know where we even come from? We don't know. It could be a fucking alien. But, okay, actually. But the point is, what they think currently is like the meteor hit, and basically all the dinosaurs were wiped out. And there was like little like mice things or whatever under the ground that didn't get killed. That eventually over time became like a monkey. Then the monkeys lived in this like rainforest that was comfortable. Now, what happened was the primates that stayed in the rainforest became the chimpanzees. But then because the rainforest was retracting, it got harder. People had to learn to walk on 2 feet, eventually learning how to just be like these kind of like little scavengers, eventually learning how to actually go after prey, eventually becoming Homo erectus, and eventually becoming what we are now. And there's different species of human. Neanderthal, what's the other one? The ones from Tibet, what's the tall ones? The Denis, what is it again? Yeah, Homo habilis. Yeah, what's the other one? Yeah, Denisovan, right? And we have that in our DNA, by the way. Part Denisovan, part Neanderthal is in your DNA, okay? Look this up. So we've had a long journey, crazy journey. You guys ever seen the kind of hunting that was happening up in the Bering Strait? You guys seen this? Woolly mammoth everywhere, like squirrels. Saber-toothed tigers, cave lions, dire wolves. Guys, do you know how long ago the giant sloth was alive? It's like 11, 12, 13,000 years ago, something. Short-faced bears were alive at that time. 12, 13-foot tall bears, killing machines, run 40 miles an hour. What's happening there? What's going on? You killed those things. You. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You can't make an internet funnel. This is much, much, much easier, guys. But what happens is your brain is so suppressed. You're so much in a cope. You're so much in other people's frames and parasitically controlled that you're not even aware of what the fuck is going on. And now you're a battery. And there's different energies that are running, that are kind of circulating around. And that could be everything from demonic to just people trying to mentally control you to put you in a box to work for them, to your own independent energetic parasites that run you just for their own sake and cut you off from God. And all these things are fucking with your brain and taking away your potential. And self-help isn't covering this, okay? Self-help isn't covering this properly. What does self-help teach you? Maybe a little bit about how to do a personal brand, or maybe a little bit about how to work on your inner beliefs, or maybe a little bit on how to build a business, right? Which is all great stuff. I teach all of it, by the way. Love all of it. But there's layers to personal growth that if you're in it long enough, you get to see, and you'll realize that you can evolve, okay? You don't want to evolve? You're scared? The chimps are scared. Where are they now? What do they look like? Chimps didn't get on 2 feet. They stayed where? In the comfy rainforest. What happened to them? Chimps. How are human beings created? Through the fire of going out into dry land. Getting attacked, endless violence, endless fear, and thriving. So what does your life actually represent here on earth? Pushing into fear, pushing against your autopilot, re-getting consciousness and waking up. Stop thinking about your life as something to be lost. Think about your life as something to be gained. A life lived in unconsciousness, what would even go to heaven? What would even go to an afterlife if someone's just in a bunch of frames and parasites? There's nothing even there. So we achieve consciousness. We invite our soul into ourselves. That little fragment of who you are connects to God. But we are receivers and antennas. We're antennas and we shoot out energy, right? And so you're always threading that little bit of who you are into something in brief moments of consciousness. And over time, by the decisions that you make and by the beliefs that you let in and the people who you let around yourself, you will evolve or not. And you will see somebody who taps into the wrong energy, what they look like over time, and people who tap in the right energy. There's an old expression, it's morbid. It says, if you wait by the river long enough, the dead bodies of your enemies will go floating by. And what that means is eventually people make the wrong choices and eventually they give in, they tap out. But I'm telling you to never tap out. Never tap out, never tap out, never tap out, never tap out, never tap out. Don't be like the chimps. If I had one lesson to teach my kids, it's go all the way. That's what I teach my kids. Go to the end. Take the journey to the furthest logical conclusion. Any happiness that you get by not doing that is not going to get you anywhere. It's going to be temporary and it will be stolen from you again and again and again. You'll not get off the damn island. You've got to get to dry land. What is dry land? Dry land is when you are so adapted to all this shit that you're unstoppable. That's dry land. That is how you get to dry land. Okay? In the meantime, you're out in the fucking ocean clinging to log after log. You follow that analogy? You follow that analogy? You're out in the ocean clinging to log after log. At a certain point, you got to say fuck it and you got to let go of the log and you got to swim. Okay? And that'll be your life's journey. And what's going to happen is you will be able to confront harsher and harsher truths that society itself tries to paint over and people beg to be pimped out. Right? A hoe and a pimp. What's a hoe and a pimp do? The hoe is basically giving away her money and free will to the pimp to just be told to get out on the track. Goes and gets the money and just gives it to him. Why? You ever just look at that and go, why? Why? You went out, risked your life, were a hooker to give him the money? Why? But you never ask yourself if you're doing it. You ever ask yourself if you're doing that? In this pimp-hoe relationship, you ever ask that to yourself? So you become a master of this. Personal growth is not meant to be stagnant. Personal growth teachers, self-development teachers are not meant to be stagnant. The art is meant to be pushed forward. Whether that's social skills art form and being the best at that, public speaking as an art form, money making and wealth generation as an art form that I'm a master at, whether that is living life at the peak, travel, enjoying life. I got a very fun life, by the way. I told you guys, most of my life is having sex, spending money, and traveling. I've, to some extent, swam to dry land. But see, do you know the difference with me on dry land and a lot of people? I know how to swim. I'm not stuck there. A lot of people, they find dry land, they're fucking stuck there. You can only even enjoy the dry land and not be attached to it when you know how to swim. And you've got to view swimming as no different than dry land. When you're good, you're like, you know what? I'm cool to swim, I'm cool to be on dry land. I like both. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, I got 100 mil. Yeah, I'll spend it. I'll go make another 100 mil. Oh, that was fun. Make another 100 mil. That's how you want to be thinking, okay? And then you want to be thinking, the 100 mil ain't shit. The 100 mil ain't shit, but the journey to get there, and it was fun to help other people. I had some fun myself. It was win-win, and it ain't shit. And that sounds like a load of shit when you say it until you realize that your ancestor killed a short-faced bear. And you have something called sales ads. Right? You know, your ancestors managed to reproduce. Your ancestors managed to game a Neanderthal, right? Like your granddaddy banged a Neanderthal. But you can have swag. You see what I'm saying? Wake up to who you actually are. That's really the major lesson of personal growth. And by the way, I don't walk around day to day going, your ancestor fucked a Neanderthal and killed a short face. I don't live like this. right? So what is a room like this? A room like this is a sober psychedelic and an awareness training that you do for a period of time. Look, if someone clips you jacking off, does it look kind of weird? Yeah, but you got to jack off, right? If someone clips you taking a shit, is it kind of weird? Well, you know, it's kind of funny, right? A lot of the time comedians want to clip personal growth trainings. You want to know why that is? Because when you're in it, it's kind of funny, right? The short-faced bear, the fucking, you know, the caveman, all this shit. It's funny. But the truth is, those same people that laugh at it are usually broke. They're actually stuck. So it's funny to laugh at. That's fine. I can laugh with them. I think I'm kind of funny to look at, especially in a clip. I think that if you see a clip of me having sex, it's pretty funny. It's not that glorious. My little dick and my moaning. Like a baby wet carrot, guys. But proud. That's a line that I use in game, by the way. So anyway, look. So the baby wet carrot line slays. Anyway, steal it. So what I'm getting at, you know, if I'm taking a shit, it's kind of funny. If I'm doing personal growth training, it's kind of funny. You get a clip of a woman having a baby going, ah! It's kind of funny. This is funny. But at the same time, it also still has to be done, guys. We can go, it's funny. It has to get done. You have to be in personal growth training. You have to have mentors. You have to be in rooms like this. And if you don't, you're back there. Look, you're in a personal growth training either way. Either back at home amongst your friends in the bullshit or out here with proactivity. It's similar to, you ever heard the idea that you have a prenup in a marriage no matter what? You ever heard that? Why do you have a prenup no matter what? What's the prenup that you have? If you don't get a prenup in a marriage, why do you still have a prenup? It's the default prenup the government gave you. You still have a prenup. It's just the bad one, right? You're in a personal growth training no matter what, right? What is that personal growth training? The shit one. It's the shit one. You're being trained at getting frame controlled, at getting manipulated, at getting put in people's energy no matter what you do. You're not getting out of that. The question is if you do it deliberately. So what I've tried to leave you here with is this. Be open to building your inner strength. Be willing to get out of simplistic truths. Get out of simplistic truths. The stronger you are, the clearer that you can see the different elements of reality that might scare you. The more that you can take that fear, the more that people look to you for leadership. Those people that look to you for leaderships and who you believe are friends are in a trance and looking to you to lead. If you fail as a leader, they'll typically RS flip, which means that your relationship to them is not what you think it is, and yet it is no less real. Because look, if you create a farm and that farm requires the exertion of energy, is that farm real? Now, if you stop that farm, what happens to the farm? It gets overcovered in weeds and trees and all that, right? That, when you have a girl in your frame, that's maybe not who she actually is, but it's who she was when you proactively exerted yourself. That team that you build that was in your frame and looked to you for leadership, they were weak. That was who they are when you exerted leadership. That was your job. So when people say things like, well, I want a girl that wouldn't cheat, or I want people with integrity around me. Yes, that's true. That's all good. That's fair. I'm not saying it's bad. But do you guys see how that's brushing over deeper level understandings of leadership? Do you guys see that? It's brushing over deeper levels of leadership, and it's oversimplifying things, right? It's like a guy who says, I just want to go back to the patriarchy, you know, shit like that. They just want things to be the same, right? Take a woman's voting rights away and take away her ability to have a bank account so that they could get a girlfriend. Because they just want it the same, right? People want it to be easier. Oh, that person that fucked me over, he was bad. I'll find another one. I'll find a better one. Okay. The person lied to you and fucked you over when you lost frame. You went and found a better one. What's going to happen? Here's the main key of that whole thing. What's going to happen if you didn't elevate? What's going to happen? You'll get cheated on again. You'll get fucked over again. It happened to me. That happened to me. I didn't elevate, and it kept happening. I kept thinking, maybe it's the wrong person. I just got to get someone of more integrity. I'd meet somebody who seemed great, and then they'd do it. You guys see how that works? So nothing changes. So real adult masculinity, but women learn from this too, big time, is understanding that you are the person who has the most control over the survival part of your brain. You're the person who has achieved the most proactive will. You're the person who has the strongest frame. And you're the person who's done the most inner work as well as outer work so that you can lead. And then you create your own empire. You create your own garden. You have to lead. They say it's lonely at the top. Too bad. Because you know what you have at the top? God. Purpose. Real authenticity, not the bullshit one where you just go, blah, you know, like I talked about earlier, right? Actual authenticity, actual connection to reality. And that is the reward in and of itself. Consumer spending, discretionary spending, and sex, and food, and stimulation, dopamine is fun, but it's not the be-all, end-all of life. When you walk into a room, that's not what's going to give you self-respect. That's not what's going to let you look in the fucking mirror. Do you guys see, even from my public speaking, how I could just go indefinitely? Does that make sense why I can make unlimited cash? Do you see what I'm showing you here? That's from the right mentors, the right teachers, the right books, the right processes. That's what I'm here to teach you, okay? There's a greater and better life ahead. And for most of you in here, if you just fucking listen, what you're capable of, you have no idea, okay? You have no fucking idea. You have no fucking idea, okay? And this is like, and I say this with no condescension, like talking to a 7-year-old. You're a baby. You're told you're an adult, you're a baby. There's levels to this shit, okay? And I'm here for you, and I love you, and I'm not here to make you dependent on me. I'm here to wake you up. So I'm gonna do a bunch of exercises. I've studied my whole life, I've studied a quarter century. Can I tell you guys this last thing too? And we're gonna do some exercise after this, okay? I studied a quarter century to be able to teach what I taught you here today. Do you understand that? This is me. My brain has been like a defragmenting computer, crunching data, doing experiments, coaching people, reading books, studying, meditating, being in nature, getting around the right people, the wrong people, experience. So I can get up here in front of you guys and create this, okay? And I'm creating this for you guys, and I'm creating this for history. You guys got what I'm saying here? Okay? And I'm creating this for history. So imagine you spent your whole life working on something, and you're in a moment, right? I'm in a moment right here. And I recognize the moment that I'm in. Do you guys see that? You should recognize the moment you're in, receiving this directly. Okay? You are in this room. Do you get it? You're in this fucking room. Do you understand? You're in this room. In addition, I want you to have your moment like this. Maybe your thing's not a public speaker, maybe it's an engineer. I don't care what it is. But there will be that moment for you where you're a quarter century deep into your craft and you've given what you have to it. And you know what the reward is? Being able to do this. Does that make sense? It's being able to do this. You remember in your 20s, you're like, what would it be like to be at a high level? I can remember being back in Starbucks, just being like, what would it be like to be the best speaker, to have the best content? What would that be like? To be in front of a crowd, to have people coming to see. What would that be like? And you just keep inching towards that goal. That's a speaker. But not all of us will be a speaker. But whatever's your thing and your journey that God intended, and whatever's your poetry, I wish that for you. So when you see somebody else in that and they're in their moment, realize that you're part of that moment too. But I want to be in your moment. I want you to have your moment. And I want to be there for your moment. And I'm there for you. And we're there for each other. And we have an infinity of more moments. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Thank you very much.